Recording in progress.
So good evening, wonderful community, staff as well. Today is Tuesday, February 3rd, and it is 7 p.m. And this is the meeting, legislative meeting of the Mayor and Council, and it's being held virtually. And there's a lot that has happened between last meeting we had, a big, gigantic storm, so let me see. Okay. I'd like to start with step number 1, a call to order. Joseph Jacuda,
Present.
Valerie Woodall,
I'm here.
Daniel Carter,
Present.
Jenny Hoffpower. Okay. We have 4 of us are present. So we'll move on to the next step. Valerie, can you help me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Yes, thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. We're going to be moving on to item number 2, review of the agenda. Mayor and Council review the agenda for the meeting, adding or deleting topics of interest or discussion. Valerie, can you help me with that as well?
Yes, this is the agenda of the legislative meeting for the mayor, city, and council. City of Mount Rainier, Maryland. It's a virtual meeting Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026 at 7 p.m. 1, call to order, Pledge of Allegiance. We just did that. 2, review of the agenda. 5 minutes. The mayor and council will review the agenda for the meeting, adding or deleting topics of interest or discussion. Number 3, mayor and council member event announcements. Number 4, presentation and discussion on legislative update from Greenville Consulting Group. 20 minutes. The mayor and council will receive a legislative update from Mr. Jonathan Carpenter and Ms. Leslie Feliz. Number 5, city manager's report. City manager Karosh Kamali will present his report to the mayor and council. Number 6, proclamation and recognition and celebration of Black History Month, 10 minutes. Mayor Selena Benitez will present a proclamation for Black History Month. Number 7, public comment. Please see page 4 of the agenda where the rules for public comments are listed. If you wish to speak, please advise during the virtual meeting. Can we move the screen down?
Melly, can you move it, please?
Move on my end.
It's not moving on the screen that we have in front of us. Thank you so much. We could see the next one. Go ahead.
Old business number 8, second reading and adoption of resolution number 01-2026, authorizing participation in the Prince George's County Planning Assistance for Municipalities and Communities, PAMC, strategic action plan project, 10 minutes. The mayor and council will have the second reading and adoption of resolution number 01-2026. Number 9, discussion and vote on resolution number 07-2025, vice mayor rotation, 15 minutes. The mayor and council will discuss and vote on resolution number 07-2025. Moving slow. New business. There we go. Number 10, vote on approval of minutes, 5 minutes. The mayor and council will vote on approving the minutes for December 16th, 2025 work session, January 6th, 2026 legislative meeting. Number 11, presentation of minutes, 5 minutes. The city clerk will present the January 20th, 2026 work session minutes to the mayor and council. Number 12, adjournment.
Okay, thank you so much. And we're having a little bit of delay with the agenda being moved up and down. So I ask everybody to please be patient as our team continues to work. So if this continues going on, be aware and be patient. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna go to item. Actually, before that, anything the council wishes to add, delete when it comes to the agenda? council, I'm gonna go around. Let me know if we're good. Anything you need to lead or add to the agenda? Joseph,
I'm good, Mayor. Thank you.
Danielle,
I'm good as well, thank you.
Valerie,
I'm good, thank you.
Jenny,
I'm good, thank you.
and Melissa. Please also know that Constable Half Power has joined the meeting. Okay. All right. So moving on to item number 3. So I heard everybody's okay with the agenda. I don't want no feedback later, please. All right. Item number 3, Mayor and council members will give us what event announcement. Please remember this are city aligned events, and let's try to keep it that way. Okay. So I'm gonna go with Jenny since you just came in. Jenny, Danielle, Joseph, and Valerie.
The only event is I'd like to announce that the next work session of the council will be in person at Potts Hall. That's it.
Danielle.
Yes, thank you. I have a couple. The CERT team is hosting a bioterrorism and weapons of mass destruction training at City Hall this coming Monday, February 9th, starting at 7 p.m. in the council chambers. This was rescheduled due to the weather event. CERT is also holding their first meeting of the year on Monday, February 26th at 7:00 p.m. at City Hall, also in council chambers. And on the topic of public safety, I want to thank everyone who volunteered as a snow angel for this unprecedented and brutal weather event. I started this program in the winter of 24 with only 8 residents. Last year, it grew to 12. And this year, before the first flake fell, we had 21 residents sign up. As of today, the Snow Angels have assisted over 35 residents in the city, and that number continues to climb. So if I may, I'd like to thank all of the volunteers who helped, some doing as many as 3 and 4 houses. Sharon Niss, Krista Clark, Barbara DeLeo, John Petty and Sons, Nicholas.
Danielle, we usually do not name people's names on it. So I want to make sure we're cautious of that, okay?
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everybody who participated. You know who you are. We're very grateful to all of everybody who was a member of the Snow Angels. And I would also be remiss if I did not thank all of those who stepped up and helped on their own without the assistance of the Snow Angels. Thank you for being awesome neighbors. And it's times like this when we see a community come together, and it makes me even more proud to call Mount Rainier home. If I left any, didn't even get that far, but if you would like to help any residents who still have a need or would like to volunteer for the next snow, not ice event, fingers crossed, please either email me at my council email or call me on my council cell number, which is 240-539-2021. And I'd also last minute got this in from Thomas Stone. They asked that I announce that on Thursday, February 26th at 6 p.m. they are having their Black History Month showcase and Winter Art showcase, and and extending an invitation to the entire community to join them. Thank you.
Joseph?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to make sure it was noted that the Tree Commission's next meeting is February 12th. That's a Thursday at 7:30. I believe that'll be online, and the information is on the city website.
Thank you so much, Valerie.
I don't have any events to announce right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Melissa, can you go to the bottom of the agenda, please? Thank you so much. The next round of coming events is presentation of proposed FY 2027 budget, which will be on Tuesday, February 17, 2026. Thomaston Elementary School, in partnership with the City of Mount Rainier, will be celebrating their Black History Month showcase on Thursday, February 26th at Thomaston Elementary, 6 p.m. The community is invited to join us. The budget public hearing will take place on Saturday, March 21st, 2026 at Potts Welcome Center. The egg hunt will be placed on Saturday, March 28th, 2026 from 11 to 1 at the Mount Rainier Nature Center. and Mount Rainier Day has been scheduled for Saturday, May 16th, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the Mount Rainier Nature Center. These are some of our events. Be on the lookout. Gateway also has several events. They are going to be, they're already sharing through their listserv, and we're also going to be sharing as we co-sponsor event with them as well. So thank you guys for all the announcements. Aside from that, I know that sometimes I give a quick Annapolis rundown, but since we have our wonderful team here, I will not be doing that. In saying that, I want to give a big thank you to our wonderful Public Works Department, PD Code, City Manager, who have worked endlessly for the next 10 days and snow removing, ice removing, and everything you can think of to try to get us where we're at. A big thank you also to the fire EMS department, who we collaborate in order to be able to remove some of the snow and place locations around to relocate it, which was outstanding. So big thank you to a great, wonderful team that answered the call when we made it in order to support us, and to all the people that have been out there helping, collaborating, both county, state, school. I know we've been having endless amount of calls. Mr. Kamali, Chief, Rocio, myself, at all sorts of hours when it comes to the emergency with all of our partners, to make sure that we provide as much input as we can when it comes to the conditions of Mount Rainier and what is needed. As you guys saw, Rhode Island got digged out, and aside from being treated, they came in on Saturday and they removed for the second, third time a lot of the snow. So that was very good. But we'll continue working with our various partners to make sure that we continue to advocate for the things that the city needs through this emergency, as well as like provide our feedback when it comes to how to continue working together in future ones. So thank you for that. Also, District 47 night was last night. Thank you to residents that show up. Senator Agustin, Delegate Fennell, Delegate Ivy, Delegate Taveras hosted us in Annapolis. So thank you for that. And it was great to see a lot of people there, especially our residents getting a bit of feedback. I was going to Annapolis, but also being able to work with one another, so that was beautiful. So I will stay there at least for my announcements. Moving on to item number 4, presentation and discussion on legislative update from Greenville Consulting Group. And we have with us tonight Jonathan Carpenter and Leslie Felix, who have been with us for quite a few years and have been very successful in the things that they've done to support the city. So Jonathan and Leslie, I'm not sure who's going to speak first, but I'll cede the floor to Jonathan and say you're Leslie who's speaking first. To Jonathan first. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
We could hear now. Go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. Jonathan Carpenter, Greenville Consulting. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Again, I want to say, as I always begin with, thank you very much. It is a privilege to be your eyes and ears in Annapolis, something we do not take for granted, and we appreciate very much the opportunity to continue to be a partner and collaborate with you. Have you have our agenda? The themes this year, the governor will continue to push for affordable housing. It has created quite a ruckus, some of the bills coming in his attempt at affordable housing. You will see some positions taken by MML and MACO and others on some of his bills and legislation. So that's definitely one of the governor's mainstays is affordable housing. Education continues to be a very strong point of this administration, as well as the legislature, as they look to continue the, I guess I would say, the unprecedented funding that they're putting towards education. One thing that I want to point out is that a lot of the counties, and even when you have the city of Baltimore, Montgomery County, Prince George's, and the Eastern Shore and Western Maryland, all pushing back, saying that the blueprint funding is unfunded. They see it as an unfunded mandate. So again, we expect there to be a big fight in terms of the funding that's put forward for the blueprint for Maryland. So we will keep an eye on that. That is something that affects us because the counties and the cities, they cannot afford what their part and their share is for this funding. And so we will keep an eye on that. That is certainly something that the state continues to push forward in this budget. Public safety, again, one of his mainstays, the governor's and juvenile justice reform. We may see some bills come that way in juvenile justice reform this session moving forward. And something that I want to put on the radar, there are talks about the highway user funds again. Something that we want to keep an eye on because that's very important in our municipalities. The funding we get for the highway user funds may be something that is, again, looked at and something they may strip some of that funding away. So we will keep a close eye on that and continue to report back in our weekly reports. And on that note, with our weekly reports, I want to say we really appreciate every time we get questions about it and feedback because it shows us that you are indeed reading our weekly reports and we love that, right? And that's a keystone, one of our main pieces with Greenville is communication. So we send those weekly reports out. And again, we do appreciate that feedback on our weekly reports to keep you informed of what's going on. The governor has put forth his budget. He put forth a $70.8 billion budget with an expected structural deficit this year of $1.4 billion. So stay tuned, folks. We expect a lot of movement and wrangling between the two chambers and the governor, as we did last year, because there are things that are in that budget that we don't expect to be in there by the end of session. And we expect some trading to go back and forth because of the structural deficit and things. But the governor has put forth a budget with no new taxes and no raise in fees. So again, there are things in there that funds have been shifted around, and we will keep a very close eye on that in those conversations moving forward and keep you updated in our reports, okay? That's very important. That leads me to, I'll talk about it a little later, but as you know, Potts Hall and the NED grant of $700,000 is in the governor's budget. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to talk about something we think is very important. We always try to keep you informed of the important dates down here at this session as things move forward. We've had our bill introduction date deadlines passed, but there is still time for bills, what we call our introduction date for crossover and things that are guaranteed. So those bills must be put in by February 13th in the House and February 9th in the Senate. So there is time still for legislation to be introduced to beat the guarantee date so that the bills don't have to go to rules or executive noms. That's very important. Whenever I say things about introduction dates and deadlines, I always emphasize that, remember, in Annapolis and in any legislative process, there are things that can be done and rules that can be suspended, et cetera. So there are always, as I like to say, ways of getting things done, right? So while those are statutory deadlines, there, as lobbyists and longtime lobbyists, we always say there are the rules and then there are the unwritten rules. So there are always things that can be done moving forward. So those are important days to look out for. The final day for passage of the budget, the 83rd day, which will be April 6th. That will be the final day before the budget must be passed before maybe a special session or anything starts to kick in, which was one of the threats, if you remember, Council and Mayor, from last session. The governor had to come with the threat of a special session, and all of a sudden, right, I see Council Member Ward shaking her head. We had to really push for that budget to be passed, and legislators didn't want to stay down here. So those are just some of the important dates I wanted to remind you of. And again, the legislative priorities, protecting the $700,000 that is in the budget for Mount Rainier and Potts Hall. We were initially not in that realm with the NED. but I'm proud to say through our partnership, and I will always say it's a collaboration and partnership with everybody involved, and that's Mayor, Council, Mr. Kamali. We got together, we worked out the numbers, we continued to contact the governor's office, and more importantly, is the relationship we have with our delegation. The delegation was very big in this, and they stepped up, and they were the ones that worked with us to keep the pressure on to make sure that the funding remained in the budget. So again, that'll be our watchdog item for this session, to make sure that stays in the budget. And the budget, I must say, it starts over in the Senate this year. So it's there right now, and it will go over to the House, as you know, and then, of course, the House will do their best to get their priorities, and we'll come back together in a conference committee. So there's a lot that will go on in the next, I want to say probably 60, 70 days now, but who's counting, right? So moving forward, that'll be our priorities. We'll take question and answers, but if it's okay, I'll let Leslie talk about some of our bill advocacy updates.
Yeah, if we could just finish the presentation, then I'll go ahead and go for questions, okay? Thank you, Jonathan, so much for that. Hello, Leslie. Wonderful to always see you. I spent a lot of time seeing you in Annapolis as well as Jonathan. So go ahead.
For sure. I'm sure we'll see more of each other too. But good evening to the council members as well. We've seen a lot of traction with some of the bills that are listed here, especially in the last week and even this week. Although it just started, we've already seen hour-long debates regarding the immigration bills. So as of today, Senate Bill 245 and its House cross-file have passed in both chambers. So now they will go to the opposite chamber to go through the same process of bill hearings and voting sessions. So it'll be very important to monitor those things, especially with House Bill 444. This was changed to an emergency bill. So definitely something we wanted to keep an eye on to see if the Senate makes any amendments now that it has crossed over. Senate Bill 1 also passed today in the Senate. So this will prohibit local law enforcement from wearing face coverings. There were some amendments made to it. It's mainly regarding when it would be allowed to wear face coverings. So, for example, public health concerns would be a reason it would be allowed. But this will also be an interesting one to see now that it goes over to the House. If any amendments are made, they will have to come to an agreement at the end before the bill can pass. So that's why I want to emphasize it's important to keep monitoring it. Even though we're seeing the majority party support it, we are seeing the minority party very opposed to these bills, which has led to the hours-long debates. So we definitely have to keep an eye to see if any votes change as we move forward. Another one I want to mention is the redistricting bill that also passed today. That's also a major bill that we're seeing. So as you all know, the Senate is Senate President Ferguson is opposed to the redistricting, so it will be interesting to see how the senators react to the bill now that it's in their chamber. The other bill we have here is regarding the what is called the bottle bill, which would allow for machines to be placed throughout the state so that people can get about 10 cents back for those bottles. So that is a bill that has a bill hearing next week. So we are monitoring that as that was a priority for the city last session. But I understand there's quite a few bills this session, so I'll stop there in case there are any questions.
So it's at the end of your presentation, Leslie and Jonathan? So open it for questions?
Yes.
Okay, it's fine. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a third part. All right, thank you guys so much. And it does take a lot of hours to make sure you not just hear the conversation, but also follow along to advocate on the best interests of the city and our residents, you know? So that's outstanding. So Council, I'm gonna go to you guys around so you guys go ask your questions. Okay. I'm gonna start with this time, let me see. Let's do Danielle, Joseph, Valerie, Jenny.
Okay, thank you guys for coming and to give us the update on legislative happenings in Annapolis. I do have a question about a couple of the bills I'm following, and Leslie, thank you for responding to my email. I appreciate it. I am also very grateful for Greenwell to be a part of our team and to advocate on behalf of the bills that the council hold near and dear to our hearts. Two bills that I'm following, and I'm putting this on the record by asking in public, are Senate Bill 255 on voters' rights and Senate Bill 49 on unhoused individuals' rights and affirmative defense. I'm also following a couple of other bills, but I'll talk to other council members and, get a consensus on that before I send out another email. But I'm curious if there's been any movement or any development in what we talked about with Senate Bill 255. If you can give me any updates, if you have any, I'd really appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, there's actually a recent update. As of today, the bill passed committee with some amendments. The amendments are technical. A few senators wanted to be added as co-sponsors. It went to the floor today, but it was laid over, which means that a senator requested for there to be a hold on it until the next legislative day, which would be tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll get to see if that bill makes it through. And I'm sorry, you asked about Senate Bill 49, the unhoused. I haven't seen that come to vote yet, but I'll double check and get back to you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Leslie. And thank you, Greenwell. I wanted to say first, thank you so much for continuing to advocate for funding for our city, in particular to finish up Potts Hall. That's a really important project for us. I will say that that third bill you cite, the SB 342, HB 331, is near and dear to my heart. I think if it passes, it will really help to reduce litter in our city and throughout the state, because there's just an incentive to actually put your trash into a machine to get money back. And I think it will help to beautify the county and our city. The one thing I would like to point out, though, is that obviously you guys are kind of working off of what our last council said. And I do think it's really important for us to have our say on which bills we do and do not support as our current council. So I think what would make the most sense is for us to have a discussion in our next work session about which bills we would like to lobby for or against, especially since as a council, we're not allowed to individually comment on state issues without violating our rules. So I'm hoping that if we get you something at after our next work session that we've all worked on together, we can have a successful time in Annapolis this year. Will that work?
Valerie?
By the way, I guess there's the question.
Valerie?
Joseph, did you finish your question?
Oh yeah, my question was if we get you documents after our work session in February, will that work for your timing?
Oh, yeah, yes, that would work for us. The only one I will flag the bottle bill because it's next week. Depending on when your work session is, we might not make it in time. So just wanted to alert you of that.
Yeah, I mean, that happens. I've seen this at the Board of Education. They always miss some because of that. So thanks.
Yeah, and can I point of clarification?
Go ahead, John. Go ahead, Jonathan.
So in terms of our readout, we never advocate or put a position out that it does not come from the council. So Greenwell will never say yay or nay or oppose or in favor unless we have gotten that position from the council. Okay. So I just want to make that very clear.
Yeah.
We work for you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Go ahead, and Valerie, and then I'll make a statement. Go ahead.
Thank you. And thank you for continuing to keep us updated. Definitely keep us posted on the Highway User Revenue Fund, because I think that definitely impacts our budget locally. And so that's something that is concerning to hear, that they might want to change that or remove funding from that. And I did thank you for continuing to advocate for Potts Hall. 700,000 is a lot, and that's a really good number for us to keep in mind. I would like to note that Gateway CDC also has $685,000 in funding for projects that help the Route 1 corridor. So just keeping that in mind. And then finally, do you know how much, so DHCD has $73 million that's going in through the budget appropriation process, but there might be funds for other programming after the budget cycle through their normal grants process. Do you know how much money is in that pot? Or is it
Again,
something-
all honesty, it can change, right? It depends on where these negotiations end at. And as we watch the process and follow it, we will report back what DHCD is looking at in terms of their budget after the budget, conference committees and stuff. So we will definitely report back.
Great, thank you, because there might be projects that other organizations could get into that haven't been in the process yet.
Absolutely.
And if you have those projects, please go ahead and send them so that we could figure out where they're at. And I want to make sure we clarify something. At the beginning of the session, we usually have the council has a priority meeting, and that's also what Greenville also guides them. So when it comes to funding for pothole happens to be number one priority, and this is what they follow through. The other thing is like not necessarily they gone to what the former council has leaned forward, but they also go with what the city as a whole has decided for years, like the climate change, legislation, right? That's been in the books for many years, right? So if we see anything in the legislation that they so how do you call it, like that it fits the things that we have already passed when it comes to climate, when it comes to migration, when it comes to safe streets and roads and stuff like that, that's something that they also will go ahead and advocate. That's the reason why you see them last year they advocated when it came to a stop sign, right? It was the priority of the city has always been finding revenues that are directly given to the city, make sure that preempting does not happen when it comes to the city. And that's the reason why the housing bill has created a lot of chaos on when it comes to printing on what is it that is being asked by the municipality to remove some zoning powers. But also when it comes to how do you call it, making sure we provide our voice as a municipality and when it comes to removing funds, HORs was removed maybe 15 years ago, and that created a lot of chaos. It took a lot of fighting for us to like bring a percentage back. And I will tell you that so far they're saying they're going to keep it the same this year, but it's not solid. And it's looking like the next 5 years, every year is going to start going down, 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 down. And that's where we're going to have to be able to meet the middle ground to be able to do it. So I think the meeting is great, but I want to make sure that we are also cautious that bills are flying by very quickly. And that's the reason why I need to make sure you guys are on top of the weekly reports that they send in order for them to give you guidance to what it looks like. There's a bill, you guys are looking into it when they send the report. Send that to all so that way we cannot comment, but at least like they're aware that this is something that is looking at what's it called? Like Danielle, the two that you mentioned is something that's also on the deck of bills, how do you call it, that we are reviewing as well. So we do work with the Black Caucus, Latino Caucus, the Women Caucus, and other caucus to figure out what their priorities are and what best benefit our city. Okay. Can I also have 10 minutes on the clock, please? Can I have a motion?
I move to add 10 minutes to this topic.
Okay, can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you so much. Any discussion? Objection, abstentions? Hearing none, 10 more minutes have been added to it. I think the only one I needed to, Jenny, were you the last one on the deck? Or did I go ahead?
I was.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Thank you. Forgive me, Mayor, but I don't recall having any such priorities session, and maybe I missed that, but that was never on a meeting agenda, and we had no such meeting. So it was interesting to hear that we had a priority session because I don't recall being invited to that. Nevertheless, I thank you, Leslie and Jonathan, for your work. To be honest, I'm so ecstatic about the 287G votes last night that I'm very thankful that we are where we are with that. And I'm so thankful that Senator Augustine is a sponsor on SB1 because immigration enforcement is, as you know, heavily impacting our community and will only get worse. And it really has to be our top priority. But I actually, rather than repeating comments from my colleagues, I have a question for you that's a bit more theoretical. I'm curious, I know that MML and MACO take strong positions on bills. And I'm curious whether, in your experience, this session or other sessions, whether Mount Rainier as a city might take positions that might be contrary to what we get from MML or MACO. And if that has happened, if you could give me an example of it.
I'll speak from my experience of 30 years of being around Annapolis and legislation. I'll talk about, before I even say anything, I'll talk about my experience as a 23-year-old kid coming out of Howard's grad school and working for the State Employees Lobby Union and working with their legislative committee. And there were things that came out. But one thing I learned as their lobbyist, my job was to do and put the position out there that was reported out of the organization that I worked for, even if I or the legislature did not agree with it. And so in that case, we simply lean on you as the council and the mayor and the city to provide us with that guidance. And when we go out and advocate, trust me, Leslie and I have to look legislators in the eyes. And no matter if it puts a bullseye on us, it's a okay bullseye because it's with our client and how they feel. And so that's how I'll respond because, you know, in our profession and what we do representing you, we are your voice literally in your eyes and ears at Annapolis. And we will always, always report back accordingly as you see fit and what you would like for us to relay.
I know that. I'm curious whether we've ever taken a position that's contrary to a position taken by MML or MACO.
Off the top of my head, I would imagine there are times, you know, here's the thing, you might get half the council agree on something and half not. And so we have to ask you which way you want to go. And that's the type of internal thing that I can remember because it's such a constant normalized thing when dealing with. The great thing about us is we represent several municipalities and the counties. And so we understand that, you know, you guys have a hard job. You've got to represent the constituents of Mount Rainier. And so, you know, you guys have to bring to us how you like to go. And so, I know that more so than any particular instance of pushing back on a statewide mandate that's supported by MML or MACO. And I know for a fact, it makes a difference for your advocacy and you come down and you be a part of the process. One thing that I brag on is that you have a mayor and you all as a council are very active and your voices are heard. And trust me, that does not happen everywhere. And it's something that we really rely on. As me and Leslie like to say, and I make it very clear, they see us every day. We stay up in their face, in their offices, and they know who we are. But there is nothing more important than your advocacy in your face and your voice, because those are the things that they need to hear and see, which is you.
Thank you for your work.
Jonathan. Thank you so much for that answer. I will tell you guys that MML doesn't take a position on everything. The county is a little different because the county we are not members of the county association. That's the Prince George's County is members of the county association of MACO. We are not, you know. But when it comes to MML, it's not necessarily like the organization, but they have a legislative team. and they work through the bills and communicate. And often they've had meetings with our lobbyists as well to let them know like where they're standing in their positions. They also have a website where they let us know like where they stand on their positions so that we are aware. But for the most part, I think the things that MML have, the priorities of MML are usually discussed, presented. And so, they're also emailed to all of us so everybody knows what the priorities for MML are. So I think that's the reason why, at least in the last 8 years that I can think of, even as a council member, I don't recall, but I think that if we believe something very strongly as a municipality, we go in there. And I will tell you this, that there's times where there's a difference in opinion of like even between to me, myself, and another mayor, right? That we're both represented by Greenville. They have been very professional to make sure that they go ahead and advocate for Rainier on one side. They make sure they advocate for the other on it. And me and another mayor have testified, and we're very close friends. We testify at our piece, and then we walk out of the room, go grab food or whatever we need to do, and it's fine because we feel like here's what it needs to be, or if there's a middle point that we need to find. So that's more or less how it is. What we do know is like the 157 is very strong for us because they're mobilizing at 157 right now. It's 161 municipality and elected. So that's a big amount of the population of Maryland. So if they advocate for us, we have a stronger voice. And there's times where we may not always agree with the county as municipalities, and we have to go out there and say like, this is where we stand. And it is what it is. So I want someone to make clear that at no point that if ML stands on something and we don't, we always have the right to voice whatever it is we do, but usually we try to figure out what priorities they have, because having our team and their team working together, it does helps to figure out what they're hearing and what we're hearing in order to make sure we get the answer. As far as the other question, Jenny, I think it was back in June. I think we changed it to I think it was June before we went into recess that the meeting took place. So double check, but it was a simple like, what priorities are you having? So if it hasn't happened, we're gonna have one right before we go, because it used to be in September and we changed it to before the end of it to make sure we give team guidance. That's what it was. And it's not very big. Every consent with a few things that say they want to work on, and whatever we could match, we move forward with. Okay. And apologize, time has run out. All right. Okay, I will not over time, but I say thank you guys so much. You're welcome to stay with us if you choose to. Go continue advocating because those meetings are long. Yesterday, the vote went on for many hours. And I think that I'm very happy that you guys are there because I go as needed, right? I don't have to be there Monday through Friday, which is a big relief for me. But we definitely make sure that we collaborate in the work of Rainier is out there heavily on what our policy guidance regulations have been for years in order to make sure we're strong in. Sometimes, especially with 287G, I'll give you an example. Some people feel the way they do. We have strongly feel the way we do. And we don't shy about like submitting letters of or testimonies when it comes on how to better protect our residents. So that's been one of those things that, in example, like MML doesn't take a stand on stuff like that. They take more like in the municipal level. But again, even if they did, right, we are who we are. And we have the beautiful thing about this, like we have not deviated from that. All right, but in saying that, thank you guys so much, Leslie and Jonathan, always for being wonderful to us on the great work that you guys put. And I'll be seeing you guys very soon. I now have to submit some stuff to you guys as well. Okay. Bye, you guys. Take care.
Everyone, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now we're moving on to item number 5. City Manager's report. The City Manager, Kurish Kamali, will present his report to the Mayor and Council and to the community. Hello, Mr. Kamali. The mic is yours.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. I want to say good evening, Mayor and Council, and everyone that's joining us tonight. I think the main topic or main issue for the city right now is the snow, and I'd like to draw your attention to the report that we provided today. So, Melissa, could you bring up the report from Public Works today? Yeah, that's good enough. So, as you all know that our area was hit by the biggest storm since 2004. It was not only the snow, it was the sleet and freezing rain on the top of it. I was in the city Saturday night, 11 o'clock, and then until the next day, Sunday. So, and the bad thing, the worst part of it was the temperature was going below freezing, which this condition, significantly slowed plowing and final cleanup efforts because I've been here 11 years. I've gone through different winters, and with the team that I have, I was able to make sure that we remove the snow on time, make the streets, passable. But unfortunately, this time, it is unbelievable. It is something that I never thought I'm going to be in this position. But I want to say thank you to Public Works team and the rest of the departments, because for past 10 days, I can tell Public Works team has not taken a day off, even on the weekends. They've been working, putting 10 to 14 hours. And also, I want to bring your attention to the small size of the team that we have. We have 6, as you see it in this report. I got 6 people in Public Works, and we have the limited resources in terms of the equipment. And so what I'm trying to say, I do appreciate everybody's, patience. As you see that for past 10 days, we have completed some areas. I've seen emails, so many emails, even this afternoon. And just want to let you know that it's not complete yet. We're trying to make the streets passable, especially the emergency routes, which is our priority always, to make sure that the first responder, the police, everyone can go and get to Eastern Avenue and Rhode Island Avenue. But unfortunately, we have a residential area, narrow streets. People have to park on one side of the street. I was plowing on the weekend. When you have a car that is parked in 22 feet lane, you have only limited space. So what we have to do, we have to push the snow somewhere. We don't have enough spaces in the city to accumulate those and remove that. But unfortunately, even though if we had the space, the ice cannot be removed at this time because for past 10 days, the temperature is below zero. Like it's -6, minus 12, even, 2 nights ago. And so I just want to let you know that our team are working around the clock and we're trying to get best out of it. And even tonight, we're looking at the, forecast. We're supposed to have something between 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., but the chances are 40%, less than half an inch. But we have to do our work. I had, Public Works this afternoon to pre-treat all the roads and the alleys in the city. So as you see, we have some completed areas. As I said, this is the report that I got from, Public Works Director, and I trust her. I know that, we've done, the best out of our limited resources in terms of manpower and the equipment. So having said that, the only problem that we have, and now I'd like to bring to your attention, some of the council members have been asking us, like SHA, different agencies that we have to rely on. Rhode Island Avenue, on the weekend and even Monday, they were not, there. So thank God they came last weekend, on January 28th. They were there and they relieved the terminal areas. But right now, this morning, I was talking to Rocio on this side of Chuck Liquor Store. They need to come back between, the Circle and 37. They still need to remove some of the snow. And then when it goes to the park and planning, as I was talking to one of the council members today, I really need mayor and council to help me because they're not responding. I've had, Rocio has been constantly sending them an email and they keep saying that they're coming, but it's their park. And unfortunately, we have no jurisdiction over their authorities. So I'm asking community to be patient, please. I'm hoping to get to a higher, temperature. Maybe we can push some of those, ice and get melted. So it is unbelievable experience that I've had for past 11 years. But again, I want to say thank you to my team because they have gone above and beyond. And that's all we can do right now. And I do appreciate if you guys have any question, any comments, I'll be glad. Before I get to my main report, I don't know if you guys want to hear my report or not, but right now, my main concern and the team is to get rid of those snow and the ice. It's not the snow, it's the ice. It's a big chunk of ice all over the city, and I know people are trying to get to their business, to do their errands, and unfortunately, it is what it is. And it's not only Mount Rainier. Today I was in Virginia, and believe it or not, I think we've done a great job with the small size of the city that we have. So I do appreciate my team again, and I'm asking community to be patient, please. And we'll get it done. We get it done as we've done it in past 11 years. That's all I have. Thank you. And if you guys have any question, I'll be glad to answer.
Mr. Kamali,
Regarding the snow.
Regarding your bigger report, you don't have to go line item by line item. What you could do, if ideally, just do an overview, if there's anything that has changed. Because I know the projects have, I think some of them have paused because of snow, but like maybe a bigger overview, not line item by line item, because right now you're right, the snow has taken priority and has put everything, allow the outside stuff on hold, although the internal stuff continue. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right.
And then I'll open it up to you guys so that we could get it done. Go ahead.
Yeah, for my report this month, as you see that, right now we're working on the budget FY27, proposed budget to mayor and council. We will have it delivered to you on February 13, and then we're going to be presenting it, as council member Jenny said, in person in Potts Hall on February 17 at 7 o'clock. So that's for the budget, which is another major task that right now we're working on. And you see the Potts Hall is almost finished. Everything is done except we're waiting for the furniture, and we're going to use the old furniture. The next topic or the next project that I have is the stop sign camera. I've been working very closely with Karen Roth, our city attorney, and she just emailed me today that the contractor or the vendor is reviewing the final. Their attorney is doing the final touch, and we should get it this week. But once I get it, again, I'm just reminding everyone, please, 30 to 60 days for implementation. And I will keep you guys posted. Next slide, please, Melissa. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at my own slides over here. Okay, the next one is the safest street. I just want to let you know that there was an annual report due by January 25th. We sent the annual report and we had the quarterly report also due. Right now, I just had a meeting last week with the tool design, go over the final design for this 3 projects that are listed. And the Food Forest and 31st should be coming to us because we had some comments and send it back to, tool design. So hopefully we get that one, squared away by end of this month. Then the rest of the project, as Mayor said, high visibility crosswalk is paused because of the winter. Sidewalk maintenance also is paused for now. Let's go to the next one. I'm sure you guys are interested about the parking enforcement. Parking enforcement program, as you see it, are listed. It's a lot of training has been involved. And then there are a lot of pieces that needs to be processed, like, citation ticket stock. That was just finalized today. And Chief and her team been diligently working with the contractor. They have a weekly meeting every Tuesday, and I get the update from the chief, and these are the updates that we got. They promised, as you see it on the last line that I have over here, Cardinal and the police department are working together to expedite the system operation within 30 days. So I'm hoping that we could get it done in next, 30 days, and I'm sure we will get it done. Next project is 31st Street and Perry. Because of the winter time, right now I am working on the bid documents, and I will have the city attorney to review it, and then I will go through the process to post it on Maryland Marketplace to get the vendors or the contractors, and the construction will be in spring or summer. Then the solar panel, the last piece is the pothole, and we just got the update yesterday. Pepco has not authorized our permission to operate. They needed more information, and our contractor has provided the information. Facade improvement, the next project. The facade is almost, complete, because Niece's store was the last one to install the awning. I went over there and I checked it. It looks good. So right now we're working on the final invoice, and then we have to go after $150,000 reimbursement, which I have Bill, our grant writer, to work on it and get it done. Then we have the mural. The city attorney just finalized the agreement, and I'm working on it to send it to Mr. J. Coleman next week and, get it done. But the weather is not good right now, to be honest with you, but we're gonna get it done as soon as possible. Next, Newton Street is paused again because of the weather. And then you see our grant writer activities is listed, and we are continuously searching for any opportunity. And we appreciate any information. And today I've received some from Mayor, which it was helpful, and we're gonna use it. So thank you again for being patient with us. And I'm ready for any question, any concerns you guys have. But please be easy, tonight with me. So I'm ready. Danielle. Let's go.
Thank you so much, Mr.
I'm sorry.
Kamali, and you're fine. Melissa, just to make sure I keep myself on track, how much time is left on the clock in case we need to add time as we'll add it now?
There's no specific time stated for the report.
Oh, the city manager, you could have 30 minutes. What are you doing?
Well, I can
You're
talk.
fine.
Yeah. To be honest with you, Mayor, right now, believe it or not, I have so much problem, but I'm thinking about the snow. I keep watching the news. I want to make sure this temperature goes up. At least, we can get some of the ice melted and get people relieved from this situation. I know our senior citizen, they have a hard time. I'm trying to do my best with the team that we have, and I appreciate everyone's support, and I appreciate everybody's, patience, please.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Kamali. Let me open it up. I just didn't want to I was trying to avoid having to cut anybody like mid-sentence because it makes it difficult for me. All right, go ahead. So Joseph, I'm gonna go with you first. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. And I certainly want to start by saying thank you, Mr. Kamali and Rocio and all the staff that have been working so hard on this. I've been out there trying to help some neighbors out here and there, and I mean, this stuff is concrete, and it's amazing that you guys have done what you can. And plus, I had to walk to Brookland to catch the metro to go into work, and just seeing how different it is just as soon as you cross that DC border, they didn't even touch it. And I mean, I know it's not perfect, I'm still impressed with what you guys have done. I did have one question about SHA and MNCPPC that you already touched on, so I'll go with a different question I had for you, and that was about the snow emergency roads. I know that some residents have been concerned that they weren't cleaned out, and that I know part of the problem is because there were parked cars in there. So I was just wondering how we can make sure that that's not happening, just in case this happens again, because I do think it wasn't as bad last year, but we did have one of these ice storms, and I remember the kids were out for a week right after Christmas, so might not have been as bad last year, but I do think this will happen again.
Well, you know that the emergency routes that we have, it's our priority always. When we tackle the roads to go and remove the snow, our priorities are, starting from the 34th circle, go all the way, go to Rainier, go to Upshur, go to Eastern Avenue, and make sure the routes are ready to go, and then come back around the road. But unfortunately, as I told you, when people are parking over there, unless we want to declare the state of emergency, then prohibit all the parking on that area, which is not really, to me, it's not a good idea unless we get to the emergency situation, to the state of emergency. But what I'm trying to say, people have to pitch in. People have to, the day before, we put email blast out and we ask people, please, we're getting a big storm. Please do not leave your car on the emergency routes. But some people that using, the street side of the road as a parking area, and we cannot do anything about it. And I'll be glad to hear any resolution, any good ideas that you guys can give it to us. But unfortunately, because we are mostly residential city, people have no choice and they have to park on some of these roads. And but we always make the emergency routes as a priority, and we communicate with the communities and bring their attention that, hey, the storm is coming. Even we give the time, but unfortunately, like last Saturday on 34th Street, it was on both sides. When I went to Rainier, it was the same thing, one side, because Rainier, one side is not allowed, parking. So it is just, but to me, as I said, you said last year there was a big snow, 2 years ago in March 2020. I was there for 36 hours, but we got more than 12 inches of snow. We were able to get it done in 36 hours. Mayor is a witness of that. But unfortunately, right now it's ice. It's not something that we cannot handle it because of the ice situation. I'm sorry. Unless I bring the hammer and jackhammer and start breaking piece by piece, that's the only thing that we can do. And it's not only in Mount Rainier, Joseph, it's all over DMV, and it's just something that no one expected to be in this position right now. But I understand your concern, and you guys are welcome to give me any ideas that you guys have. I'll be glad to take it.
Thank you. So I want to give you guys something. They see what they do is after, I think it's 5 p.m. Any car that's in the emergency routes needs to leave, or traffic routes. If not, they get towed, cited, and everything else, right? Yep. That's more or less the alternative what like our team is facing. So unless we're thinking of like citing and towing like cars in the emergency, because in the reality, it's like a lot of residents do not have driveways to also park on, like on Bunker Hill, one of the side, they don't have driveways, right? So they have nowhere to park. So that's where the distinction is. The machine can only go so far close to the car and not enough, so that way they won't damage the car. So that's part of like, part of the issues that we're having. And to the residents that are out there, please make sure that if you have a driveway, you put your cars in, because it makes it easier for the team to be able to pre-treat the streets. And also when they shovel the snow, people shovel the snow into the street instead of into the sidewalk. And that creates for the team they just clean it up and they come back and clean it up another route. So that's been some of the challenges on it. So that's something to take in consideration when it comes into is what the guidance is. And we could do this in a different meeting, that moving forward when it comes to emergency streets, you want citations and tows to happen in order for cars to move, because obviously asking hasn't worked, right? But we have, like in the past, we have decided to, do it that way too, because there's no matter what way you put it, if you move people from Bunker here, you're gonna move them into, let's say, 32nd. 32nd only has one side parking and they're already like overcrowded, right? 34 is just equally as tight with parking, so there's not necessarily a place where they could move the cars in order for us to be able to have that. So it's challenging with most small small streets. Okay. So I'm gonna go on and move to Danielle. Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Kamali, I've already prepared what I'm gonna say. So hold on. Mr. Kamali, I want to first thank you and your public works staff for all the work they put in during this very unprecedented and brutal weather event. For us to only have a staff of 6 laborers in public works with 1 Bobcat, 4 trucks, the team worked continuously this past Saturday a week ago. Yes, there are areas of the city that need attention, but in what weather event is that never the case, not just for us here in Mount Rainier, but in the nation as a whole? Now, Mr. Kamali, I do want to say one thing, and this is to your credit. I was here during that snowstorm back in, what was it, January 2016? We got 20 plus inches. The difference is our streets got cleared. It took a couple of days, but it was a heavy load. I mean, there was a lot of snow. This ended up being snow on top of, ice on top of snow, which turned it all into ice. Where normally we get the ice and sleet first and then the snow. So we have a difference between 6 inches of ice and 1 inch of ice. Those are 2 different worlds. Now, on that point, I was talking to my son in Oregon this morning about the snowcrete that we're calling it. And he said that they had the same thing in his city there last year. So that gave me the idea that maybe we should talk to public works departments in other cities who do experience things like this more often than we do and are better prepared to handle them. So I did speak to the public works director. He gave me, and I spoke, the city manager gave me permission. I gave him your name. There is a connection there. So trust me, there's connections being made. And he gave me a lot of really good advice. One of them, and this is no joke, including beet juice to help decrease the freezing level of the street. So it would take asphalt from the freezing level that salt and brine normally do it and take it down to -20 degrees for freezing. And I mean, I Googled it. I was blown away. But his number one recommendation, and Mr. Kamali, you know who I'm talking about. I know you do, but I'm going to say it for the record and for the my colleagues here in council. He recommended that someone from Public Works, that we send somebody from Public Works to the APW Snow Conference that is going to be held this year in April in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, for the record, and those who don't know, the APWA is the American Public Works Association. This snow conference is an opportunity for public works directors and assistants to learn best practices, new technology, and to network with other municipalities and counties around the nation on how to handle snow and ice events. I know this comes late in the budget year, Mr. Kamali. I know, but I mean, what we're seeing, it's like, maybe something we might want to entertain. And I can tell you that if you want to send Rocio or Victor or both or whatever, this council member right here, I support you and I will support any budget amendment that will help us move money to make it happen. Because this is not just a fun and games thing. That I think doing things like this is an investment in not only our public works department, but also for our city moving forward. So I do want to thank you again with all my heart for everything you've done. I mean, we've worked a lot. The community, the volunteers, it's been a community effort because this really is one of those, I don't know how many years it's been since we've seen something like this, if ever, in this area. Now, having said that, I do have one question. Can you guys
stick to the 3 minutes at least, please?
Okay. Well, I just wanted to, okay. I do have one question, and this is just going to take a second. And this is based on your report. Will you or someone from Tool be presenting the final design for the 31st Street and Food Force project? I know the residents over there would like to see it, and I would like to see the final project too. That's my only question I had before all the snow stuff. So I hope I went easy on you, Mr. Kamali.
It's good. Let me just, Mayor, can I just add something to Danielle? I just want to let you know that I've attended those conference in Maryland. We don't have to go anywhere out of the state. There are the Public Works, Maryland Public Works Association, and I have advised Rocio to go there, and she has gone. But this year, I just have to check to make sure those techniques are all over the US. You don't have to go anywhere out of the state. It's happening in the state of Maryland. I've attended when I was the Public Works Director. So, but I appreciate if you send me the information, and I'll definitely look into it. But regarding the tool design, yes, the 31st council member Woodall asked me about that one too, but the design is not complete, even though it has been presented 3 times to mayor and council, even before you guys joined the council at the beginning. I don't mind to have the tool design and myself to come with the final design in one of the work session, and then we can invite the community to come and see, and if they have any comments and feedback.
I think that's
Definitely.
wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Kamali.
Sure.
So I'm gonna ask you guys to please try to stay with 3 minutes or less, because it is 8:10 and we have not left the city manager report, okay? All right, Jenny, and then you what, Joseph, Valerie? Or did I start you guys? It was so long. Yes? Cool. Raise
Is
your hand
it
if I still need to call on you,
my turn?
aside from Jenny.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Thank you, Mr. Kamali. With all due respect, I think Rocio might be as good a public works director as you were. I am confused about why we are not enforcing the emergency roads rules and ticketing and removing vehicles. I'd like to understand why the decision was made to postpone fining property owners who are responsible for clearing their sidewalks. We've now postponed it twice, and it's been a week and a half, and people should have taken responsibility by now. I understand that some people have a difficult time clearing their sidewalks, and I'm sympathetic to that. And we will be introducing snow angels legislation at the next work session, so that we can have an official city program to support homeowners or property owners who need assistance. But one of the best ways of finding out who needs assistance is to give them a fine. And they can let us know that they were unable to clear their sidewalks, but other people are simply choosing not to, and it's creating a safety hazard for everyone. And so I'd like to understand why that decision was made.
First of all, regarding the emergency routes, we did have some towing. I don't know if Mayor recalls that or not. It was about 6-7 years ago. And then we towed more than 6-7 vehicles when Miranda Bratz was the city manager, and the community, the outcry from the community was unbelievable. So people have no choice. And I do appreciate you guys as a council get together and come up with the, common, decision. Then, and please make sure that, that we understand all the consequences of the decision that we make. And I just want to make sure that city manager and the team or the public works or the police is not going to be taking the burden of the decision, because it's a small city, Jenny, and it's up to you guys. You guys are the policymaker. You want to change it, go ahead and talk to your colleagues and change it. But regarding the extension for the residential single family, I think, again, we are getting caught up in the hard place between the hard and the rock. So what I'm trying to say, council member asking me to be honest with you, I'm going to be frank. Council members are asking for extension. So what should I do at this point? And I do understand that. So, and then I have to call my directors and extend it. It was until last Friday. Then I received some emails from the council members and asking for extension. So we try to sympathize with the community. And if you guys don't want to do it next time, I'm not gonna do it. Let me know in advance. And as I said again, please, let's make a decision that no one is gonna, deviate from that decision. I just want to make sure that I'm not gonna be receiving different emails. To be honest with you, we have enough in our plate, and I don't want to deal with any politics that is involved in this case. And I just, I'm just doing my job. As a city manager, I just want to do my work and go home and relax. So I don't know which way I should go. Should I make you happy or the rest of the council?
Thank you.
Sorry.
We'll work on that amongst
Yeah,
ourselves.
please.
Mr.
And please
Kamali.
get the burden away from us, please.
Thank you, Mr. Kamali. Valerie?
Thank you, Mr. Kamali, and thank you for the report. I'm excited to see the stop sign camera program coming out soon. I think that will be helpful. And tool design work as well. I echo what everybody else has said about the snow plowing and clearing. Our streets were passable. They're not perfect, but they were passable shortly after the storm, whereas other municipalities and jurisdictions were absolutely not. And so that's the first step. I think one thing we can improve upon is communication with residents about what's happening as it's happening, because, if it's 24 hours, just saying the roads are slightly passable, be safe out there, something like that, to keep people kind of feeling like they're part of it and they are engaged in the cleanup. I think that would be helpful. But other than that, I think the staff has done a great job fielding all the requests and all the different priorities of plow this block versus that block versus this area. And I appreciate the work to clear the intersections on Bunker Hill and Shepherd Street. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Am I missing anyone? Joseph, you already went, right? Yes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, I already went, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kamali, thank you so much for the hard work the team does. I think that people don't always realize that you guys are staying overnight away from your families, dealing with the emergency. That's a lot of the work that you have to in 10, 14 hours. It has been 10 days since the pre-treating the storm, plus 5 additional days. So you're talking about 15 days plus the next 3 more days that you guys are looking into from your regular schedule. So by the time the team might even have a break after Friday recycled, right? You're talking about closer to 20 days that they haven't had a day off and they're working. When it comes to the towing, it's very expensive for the city because the car's not being towed to our parking lot away. Basically, the tows are moving the cars from one block to the other. And in doing that, a lot of people were upset because they felt like their cars were getting damaged because they are drag, and if they have their parking gear on, those cars were moved from one location to the other. So it created a lot of people being heavily upset about their vehicles being touched. And at the same time, they felt like, the city should not be using the city resources in that way. All right, so I definitely will caution council that is not cheap to bring out tow trucks and doing that, but also within the current, in the current context of where we're at, it's a lot of layers that go along with it, right? And the one that gets the complaints is going to be Mr. Kamali. The losses that have been thrown into, like, people feeling their cars got damaged when the city moved them, come to us. It's a little more costly than we can think of, right? That's the reason why the decision was made for us not to do it, because even if you told them, where are you towing them to? Like in front of the block of the house of somebody else, and now they have to relocate their cars somewhere else. So it's not an easy solution, but that's the reason why originally a few years ago, like Mr. Kamali mentioned, that that's something that they stopped doing. But it definitely it made a lot of people upset regarding the extension. I know that various people did reach out to the city manager, community members just reach out because they felt like, hey, if the city is, stating that this is not the average storm, more time is needed, right? The other thing that we also faced that some of our seniors were part of the senior silver program that the county put out, and they are coming. So we managed to get some verifications on some of them that were accepted to make sure that they were not cited. Warnings were given, but I will tell you that even when COE went out giving them warnings, various residents were very, very unkind to the staff and the way they treated them, and it was a bad situation for them as well. So it's a lot of things that that happen, but mainly my understanding is like various elected officials reach out and say, hey, they need a little bit more time than 24 hours because of how big this is. And that's the reason why the team decided, but they did went out and give warnings to people, and they've been monitoring the homes and trying to figure out like the difference between what the code also has a list of like seniors and residents that need that extra help and stuff like that. And with everything, they're gonna try to fine tune it. I did have a conversation yesterday with the people around the sober program to figure out like who else was in the program in Mount Rainier in order to make sure that we take into account that the county is going to be helping them out in order to make sure they don't get a citation. Because if we're working with the counties as partner and they say they're going to come and help, giving them a citation definitely will be cruel, especially because they're waiting on it. So that's something that the city manager took also into account. Usually, I'm asked like, can you help us connect with this? Or can you like let us know about this? And I go and reach out and say, here's information that was given to me and here's who you could connect with, right? So I think that's the reason why the staff also made the decisions they made to make sure that it's not going to happen every storm, but this definitely was a very special storm. And that's the reason why they have given extensions. But if not, people will have been given a warning Monday morning, and it will have to have been shoveled before Tuesday. Okay, so I will tell you guys that more or less. So if you guys, the majority here, it has, wants to start towing cars, that's something that you guys are gonna have to discuss it in public and be aware that there are consequences to the actions that we do make. And some of that includes people suing us because the cars are damaged and the amount of money it takes us for us to be able to do that, right? So it's not cheap. I'll tell you that. Because that you have to basically hire them to come and do the work because they're not getting no money because it's not taking to their parking lots, right? And if they are, I think is over $150 a day for people to take their vehicle out. So for a community that right now is hurting with a lot of jobs and a lot of things going on, it's serious money. And so people are paying at least $300 or so, just to get their vehicles out of the location. So it is definitely something that we need to think about when we make decisions. All right, Mr. Kamali, I know your team took a report out. I know you guys have been monitoring the storm. That's something that it continue. I was doing things like make sure you CC me when you send them. If you guys don't get an answer, CC me because then I will reach out to them or they know like that on. And sometimes I have like continuous meeting with a couple people so that way I'm aware. And I emphasize the fact that that an email got sent and I would like to know where they stand because as I mentioned earlier, we spend a lot of time in meetings to get information and advocate for our residents, and that's a lot of work that's also being done. But if you guys could do me a favor, I'll go ahead and start reaching out to them to figure out like where they're at. And I understand that county right now is still very behind. They have been putting information out, so we're trying to work with them. And if anything else is needed from the state, let me know as well. Like I think I have a meeting coming up on Friday with one of the groups. Okay. In saying that, I'm happy to, with support and help in connecting and do the little shove if I need to with this to benefit the residents, obviously. In saying that, thank you guys so much for everything you're doing. It's a lot of heavy work. The machinery does some work, but the staff also has to live. And like I said earlier in my report, there's no place for us to relocate the snows. Unless somebody wants it in their backyard, there's nowhere for us to move and we're not going to private property. We were fortunate enough that we have good relationships at the higher levels when it comes to the fire EMT department that allows us to put some of the snow around the grassy area, but we couldn't put in the parking lot because they paid money to get the snow removed. We're not going to throw our snow in there, right? But we managed to be able to ask and they said, yes, you guys could put it like in certain area around, but even that space is like has already accumulated majority of the snow that we could put there, and the towers of snow continue to grow at this point, and it's not melting. The other thing, if we move it somewhere and it starts melting, the last thing we need is to overflow the houses of residents. If we go ahead and put it in one of the public parks that is melting, creating a hazard for some other of the residents. So we've been very careful on where snow has been located to make sure we don't create a bigger problem for residents as the snow melts and create more icy conditions and for the city and for the county. All right. So in saying that, Mr. Kamali, thank you so much. I know there's a lot of work that's going to be coming, and you guys have been also on top of like wider mains break. We only had 2, luckily for us in the city. Other cities have had multiple, but WSC did lifted the essential water, but they keep asking to please make sure you are saving the water as much as you can, because we had a breakage last night, not even that far ago. That's the last one we had, but everything is going to be on it. But in saying that, if anything needs to be moved to a work session, we will, and we'll go ahead and put information and numbers in front, because a lot of decisions that we make affect us currently in the long term. And if we only have so much money in the budget, if we're moving money around, it definitely cuts either program or other things that we have. So I want to make sure we're cautious with that. There might be good intentions, but we might not be able to do it. Okay. All right, Mr. Kamali, I think that'll be it for me and everybody else. Thank you so much for your report, Mr. Kamali. And I know you also been on the clock nonstop with the team. So thank you so much for that. We definitely appreciate you doing that, okay? Okay, so moving on to item number 6. Proclamation on recognition celebration of Black History Month. I will go ahead and read the proclamation for Black History Month. And we've been doing proclamations, and there is a resolution on the record for this one. For not several, I think I want to say more than 5 years now on this one. It might be longer than that. Okay. All right, let me read it. City of Rainier Proclamation, Recognition, and Celebration of Black History Month. Whereas the African American community has made a meaningful, significant contributions to the city of Rainier, state of Maryland, the United States, and the world. And whereas the month of February is nationally recognized as Black History Month. And whereas in 1915, Dr. Carter Goodwin Wilson, noted Black scholars and some of former slaves, founded the Associations for the Study of Negro Life and History, which was later renamed the Association for the Studies of African American Life and History, ASALH. And whereas Dr. Wilson initiated Black History Week on February 12, 1926. For many years, the second week of February, chosen so as to coincide with the birthday of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, was celebrated by Black people in the United States. And whereas in 1976, as part of the nation's bicentennial Black History Week, was expanded and became established as Black History Month, and is now celebrated all over North America, Canada, Great Britain. And whereas many Black people made the city of Rainier their home in spite of the abhorrent attempts to exclude them, and have made significant contributions to the city, state, and nation. And whereas Black Studies is American history and should be taught to students since elementary along with ethnic studies. And whereas the African American community has served in the U.S. Armed Forces since the First War, even though back home they had no rights and segregation was at its peak. We honor their sacrifices and celebrate our veterans. Whereas today we celebrate and affirm the importance of Black health and wellness to our community through our state and nation. Whereas we celebrate the diversity of Black people in the city of Rainier, in our nation, and the Black diaspora, whether they self-identify as African, African American, Afro-Latino, Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Asian, or Black. And whereas we recognize this year Black History Month theme of a century of Black history commemorations. And whereas we acknowledge systematic racism has led African Americans being more likely to die in an early age from all causes, more commonly misdiagnosed, and impacted by health inequalities throughout the healthcare system that have traumatized the Black community. And whereas we celebrate Black health, wellness, including the legacy of Black scholars, midwives, nurses, doctors, and practitioners of not only the Western medicine, but all the other indigenous ways of promoting health and healing throughout Black diaspora. And whereas during Black History Month, we elevate the achievements of contributions by the African American to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political. And Whereas the observance of Black History Month calls our attention to the continued need to battle racism, stand up and be an ally, and build a society that lives up to its democratic ideals. And whereas the city of Rainier is proud to honor the history and contributions of the African American in our community throughout Maryland and nation. And whereas the city of Rainier will continue to work towards becoming an inclusive city in which all community, past, present, and future, are respected and the African American community is recognized for their contributions to our city, county, and world. And whereas the African Americans have played a key role in the advancement of the city and world in the multiple fields of studies, including and unlimited to the arts, culture, science, math, politics, history, business, music, sports, medicine, economic development, education, agriculture, literature, dance, technology, high technology, and human and civil rights, including LGBTQI plus rights. And there is no field the African American community have not positively impacted and have advanced. And whereas the city of Rainier commits to doing anything in our power to them, let's hold on and move it, to demand that, can you take the little straw, that we all seek a greater understanding and implement changes to ensure that racism and unjust treatment of any person is not tolerated in any way, form within the city of Rainier. And whereas Black History Month is a time for all citizens of Rainier to remember the contributions and legacy of those who helped build our nation, fought against prejudice to secure lives of dignity and opportunity for all the citizens, advance the cause of civil rights for all Americans, and strengthen our families and communities. And now therefore be it resolved, I, Selena Benitez, Mayor of the City of Rainier, be hereby proclaim February as Black History Month in the City of Rainier, and every year from today on. The City of Rainier will display the Pan-African flag at City Hall in the month of February, celebrating National Black History Month, and urge all of us citizens to celebrate African American community heritage and culture, and continue our efforts year around to create a world that is more just, peaceful, equitable, prosperous for all, and stand up for injustice, voting rights, oppression, protection of human and civil rights. Today and every day is Black History Month. And there it is, my little tiny signature at the bottom of the document. So thank you guys so much. We make sure that we read a proclamation every February to make sure that we contribute, making sure that we inform the community and advocate for continue learning and growth. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Millie. Item number 7, public comments. And for item number 6, we did tell you guys that we have joined forces with Thomas Stone this year, and there's gonna be an event on the 26th. Everybody's invited. They have a whole art history that ties with the theme of this year. So please come over. It's open to all the community to come. And we're all putting beautiful effort to make sure that this event is outstanding as it was last year. Okay. Number 7, public comments. Can you go down to the public comments, please, Melly, so I could read the paragraph? Thank you so much. Rules for public comment. The mayor and city council invites and welcomes comments at a public meeting. The mayor or presiding officer will recognize you. Please introduce yourself first and last name for recording purposes, and give the name of your street and block number, IG 43,000 block of 34th Street. Please indicate in the chat whether you would like the mayor to read your comment or you will speak on your comment. If the mayor reads your comment, that will serve as your allotted speaking time. Public comment has a limit 3 minutes for speaker unless otherwise agreed upon by the mayor. While speaking, please maintain a courteous tone and avoid personal attacks. If you wish to lodge a complaint about the performance or conduct of any city employee, please bring it to the attention of our city manager, Mr. Kamali, who will look into the matter and respond to you. As a courtesy to other residents and businesses, the council requests that speakers not use specific addresses or names of individuals when describing a situation or making a complaint, noting the block is preferred over a specific address. Okay. Can you bring it up to the top, Millie. All right, I'm gonna open it up for public comment. It is 3 minutes. Our city clerk, Melissa Sam, will go ahead and put on the chat when you are running out of time. Please do me a favor and wrap it up when you see the warning to make it easier, okay? And you have up to 3 minutes to speak if you choose to have all three, and if not, it's okay as well. All right, so if you are on Zoom, please put your name, last name, block and street number on the chat in order for us to call on you, okay? Is there anything on Facebook, Jared? Okay, and I do have a question. He says, why a snow emergency wasn't called in our city? The governor called the snow, the preparation for snow or emergency, and we usually go with the state. And they're very particular on where it's going to be called one versus the other. Had it been a position where like we had no access to be able to remove no snow from the city, or we had like a bunch of like pipes broke, so we have been like completely on like lockdown, that reaches a different level of so he called a preparedness for emergency. That's what it was. But just that's what else. So we usually wait for like the governor of the county to call, and then we basically follow suit, you know. And if we have to like call it into emergency where it's specifically to us, then it's like also like a different story that we could call upon it. Okay. All right, so I have Maria Largest, 3200 block of Shepherd Street. Maria, the floor is yours, followed by Monica McDowell Harris. Go on.
Thank you. So this is just I've lived in Mount Rainier my whole life, and I know before when we had the newsletter at the beginning of the winter, and this is probably more than 20 years ago these days, they would put out an announcement naming all of the emergency streets in case there was a snow emergency. And I at least know someone who lives on one of the snow emergency routes. They never had an announcement that they would need to move their car. So I think that it's just an issue of finding a better communication route for that these days. And I did want to thank all of the city employees who helped with the ice and snow removal. It's definitely appreciated.
Thank you. I think that's something that we could potentially put out. I think we've done it in past years, Mr. Kamali, as well, right? So we could put in the newsletter, and I think it is in our social media and our website, but that could be added to the newsletter. I know information on the snow went out, but they could put the routes out as well. Thank you for that, for the feedback. Okay. All right. So I have, oh, I'm sorry. So every time the chat closes, it just restarts my whole entire thing. All right. So I have Monica McDowell Harris, 4200 block of 28th Street. Go ahead. The mic is yours.
Thank you. Hello to everyone. I'm honored to be on tonight. I am a resident of Mount Rainier, and I really would like to thank all the workers for all their hard work in terms of the snow removal, but more specifically for the snow angels who really helped get me unstuck. The work is appreciated in terms of the area in which I live. I live in the apartment complex around in the area, Cable Gardens, and so our area is. I know and I understand the need for the snow emergency route, and then in those streets, but it's still in need of some more assistance. But again, I really came on to because I, as a resident of Mount Rainier, I'd like to become more involved. So I am actually glad to be on this evening to see how this flows. So thank you for your time this evening. That's it. That's all I have. Thank you.
You're muted, Selena.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else that wishes to speak? Nope. Okay. I see nobody in the chat asking for speaking, and nothing was on Facebook. All right. Perfect. Okay. So seeing that there's nobody else that will be speaking in public comment, I'll go ahead and close public comment at this time. All right, we'll move on to the next item, item number 8. This is falls under old business. This is the second reading adoption of resolution 01-2026 authorizing participation in the Prince George's County Planning Assistance for Municipalities and Communities, PAMC, a strategic action project plan. This is 10 minutes allocated. The mayor and council will have a second reading and adoption of resolution 01-2026. For listening to us, it is a voting item. So the council, if choose to, will be voting on this item today, but it was also advertised as a voting item and it has gone through work session and through the proper readings as well. And this was introduced by mayor and council by obviously request of us and the staff. Resolution of the City of Mount Rainier authorizing participation in Prince George's County Planning Assistance for Municipalities and Communities, PAMC, Strategic Action Plan Project. Whereas the City of Mount Rainier is committed to promoting economic development and job growth, public safety and emergency preparedness for environmental sustainability and climate action, infrastructure and transportation, good governance and citizen engagement, and enhancing the quality of life for its residents. And whereas the city has identified the need to develop a strategic action plan that provides actionable strategies to advance these goals and aligns with the city's mission and vision. And whereas the Prince George's County Planning Assistance for Municipalities and Communities, PAMC, program provides an opportunity for municipalities to engage in planning projects that fosters sustainable growth, transportation alternatives, and community-focused initiatives. And whereas the City of Mount Rainier intends to build upon prior plans and studies conducted by the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, MNCCPC, as well as other initiatives undertaken by the city to support community development and regional interconnection. And whereas participation in the PAN Strategic Action Plan project will result in a set of actionable strategies and recommendations that the city can implement to achieve its identified goals and priorities. Now, therefore, be a result, the City of Mount Rainier, the Council of the City of Mount Rainier, Maryland, the City of Mount Rainier hereby expresses the support for and authorizes participation in the PAN Strategic Action Plan project to the city manager or its designee is authorized to execute any document, applications, or agreement necessary to participate in the project. Number 3, the city should actively collaborate with PMC representatives, consultants, and other stakeholders to ensure the successful development of strategic action plan. Number 4, the city shall use the findings and recommendations of the strategic action plan to guide future projects and initiatives to promote economic development and job growth, public safety and emergency preparedness, environmental sustainability and climate action, infrastructure, transportation, good governance, and citizen engagement, and enhance the quality of life within Mount Rainier. This resolution is adopted by the City Council, City of Mount Rainier on this. And if it's adopted today, it will say today's day and year. Okay. Council, you have heard the resolution. It has not only gone through an official presentation, also a first, and this will be your second reading. So there's been enough time to also put input. Tonight is going for a vote. Can I have a motion on the floor on the approval resolution 01-2026? Go ahead, Valerie.
I move to approve resolution number 01-2026.
Okay,
I second.
Thank you so much. This will probably moved in second. Any discussion? Any objection? Any abstentions? Resolution 01-2026, a resolution City of Mount Rainier authorizing participation in the Prince George's County Planning Assistance for Municipalities and Communities, PAMC Strategic Action Plan project has been Approve 500. Okay, so Mr. Kamali, officially, we passed the resolution that's required, so that way you could proceed with whatever other official thing you need to proceed with. Okay, thank you so much for also adding this also to your gigantic plate of work you already have, and to the team. I know Mr. Kamali is like, I know. To the team as well that will be assisting in this plan, and community meetings are planned, and open meetings and stuff like that to also get us where we need to get us. But it's time for us to do it. Mr. Kamali, go ahead.
Because you didn't see my hand was raised. So I do
Sorry.
appreciate mayor and council to come by the city hall and sign the resolution in order to send it to park and planning, please.
Okay. So council, make yourself available starting tomorrow to sign this resolution. If by any chances you can, just let the city manager know. As long as it has like one signature and the notes attached, is fine. But we usually try to make sure as many of us could sign it. But it's basically going to be on you guys whether how fast this resolution moves from this point on. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Kamali, that you need to instruct council? Just sign it.
Thank you.
Okay,
No, thank you,
perfect.
Mayor. Thank you.
And thank you for your work, Mr. Kamali. I know we continue adding stuff to your plate. So that's going to be for the next few meetings. All right. Thank you so much. We move on to item number 9, discussion and vote resolution 07-2025, Vice Mayor rotation. The Mayor and Council will discuss and vote on resolution 07-2025. Melly, can you put it on the screen, please? So as a point of clarity, is this the old version or the new version? Did somebody, Joseph, I see your mic open. This is the new or the old?
We are presenting the old version to the floor.
Can I ask a favor? When we say we need to say who we is. So if not,
I am presenting the old version to the floor.
The new version.
No, the old version.
Okay. The only reason why I asked whether it's old or new is because in the last work session, we were told that there were edits that were submitted to the document. So that's what I'm asking. Is it like the one that was in last time's package? Or this is like the one that you said that you would like in the new package? That's what I'm asking for clarity.
Because of the snafu last time and the confusion with, we have to present the old version first, and then we will move. Well, hopefully someone will move to amend it. But right now I'm presenting, I put in the old version.
Thank you so much for that clarity. I just want to make sure we could follow along and the community could follow along, because it gets very messy very quickly. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is the resolution. Let's see, upcoming Vice Mayor rotation. Whereas Section 303B of the City of Rainier Charter calls for the appointment of Vice Mayor who should perform the duties of the mayor during the absence or disability of the mayor. Now, therefore, be resolved by City. Oh, sorry, Melissa, you sometimes move a little bit faster than I can read. All right, there you go. By City Council of the City of Rainier, that one, commencing the legislative meeting of the City Council November 4, 2025, and continuing until the last council meeting prior to November 3rd, 2026, Councilmember Daniel Carr, where 1 should serve as the Vice Mayor. Number 2, commence the legislative meeting that City Council on November 3rd, 2026, and continue until the last council meeting prior to November 3rd, 2027. Councilmember Joseph Jacuda, number 2, to serve as the Vice Mayor, commencing at item number 3, commencing the legislation meeting, the City Council on November 2nd, 2027, and continuing until the last council meeting prior to November 7th, 2028. Council Jennifer Hoffpower, Ward 1, should serve as Vice Mayor. A resolution was adopted by the City Council of the City of Rainier this day of blank 2026. All right, so that way we know what the document is in front of us. Do I have a motion?
Sorry.
Do I have a motion on the floor to I guess to move this resolution? That would
Mayor, I would like to
discussion.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to move resolution 07-2025 for adoption.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Guys, if there's not a second, the motion dies on approval, okay? So keep that in mind. Okay, Danielle, going ahead and second. We're gonna open it up for discussion. Okay, so just to get clarity, this was the original one, right?
Yeah,
So
we
now we
still-
need to, now I'm gonna open the floor for us to have discussion, not just on the ordinance, but on the whole entire vice mayor thing, okay? All right, we're on the same page. Valerie, go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thank you for bringing this up. I think first, we're talking about this old version. I know there's an amendment coming. And I know it was summarized in the last work session by Joseph. But the new amendment was not before us at the meeting. And the revised resolution was sent during and after the meeting. So we haven't actually had a work session discussion on the vice mayor rotation since the beginning of this term. And I think we should have a discussion about that before we take a vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Gonna go ahead and go with Joseph.
I believe that it is time. We have had a discussion on multiple work sessions and legislative sessions on the, I guess only one work session and multiple legislative sessions on the vice mayor rotation. And, you know, it's now February. Our council rules state that, you know, then as we reaffirmed unanimously on May 12, 2025, when we all took office, the practice of the Mount Rainier City Council is to allow every council member to serve as vice mayor, and that rotation should be adopted by resolution. So it's what's in our council rules. It's time for us to act.
Okay, so I'm hearing two different points. I'm hearing from Councilmember Woodall that he would like to have a discussion on Valerie. I'm not going to summarize what you said. I'm going to hear everybody else, and then you can summarize what you guys said. Okay, so I hear at least one round for everybody else. In order to make sure I'm trying to capture what everybody is saying, so we can move on with the conversation after that. Okay. All right, go ahead, Danielle.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to point out the fact that this resolution does not bear the weight of law. So it does not need to follow the same procedure as a ordinance or an amendment to the code or the charter would. It is simply following a traditional action. So the fact that it's been discussed, it was actually read into the first time at the September meeting, a legislative meeting, along with and Councilmember Jakuta probably knows it off the top of his head better than I do, but both resolutions that named Mr. Kamali and our city clerk in their positions for the upcoming year. Then we went through discussions from legislation session to legislation session. Last meeting, we did apparently, from what I understand, the amended version was submitted over a holiday weekend, and it did not make it into the agenda packet on Tuesday, which I don't know why it wasn't, because I've submitted things at the last minute that have made it to the agenda packet, but I'm not going to question that. So there have been one opportunity after another for this. And again, I remind everybody, this does not bear the weight of law. This is literally procedural. And the longer we prolong this, the longer Ward 1 goes without their turn as vice mayor. And my constituents in Ward 1 are not very happy about that. You'll see some of them in the audience tonight. Some have been here, some have left, but all the same, I'm hearing from people that they're tired of this. They say this feels extremely partisan. And they're also tired of that as well, because they see enough of it on the federal level. They said that on the local level, it's just beyond the pale. So I agree with Joseph. It's beyond time to get this done. And again, for the third and final time, this does not bear the weight of law. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's the third point being brought up. taking a little bit of notes. Go ahead, Jenny.
So I was unable to attend the work session due to a work meeting out of the country. But my understanding is that this was properly introduced at the work session. The amendment was not. So I would like to make a motion to amend the text of the resolution 072/2025 with the text that is indeed in our legislative agenda and that is on the screen right now. So I would like to make a motion to amend it and for us to properly vote on it and dispense with this agenda item.
Second.
No.
Can you guys wait for me to like just say something? Thank you guys. So there's a motion on the floor and I've heard 3 different points from 3 different council members at this point, and they'll like differ one from the other, to be honest with you. So since we're even on the same page. All right, so there's a motion on the floor. Can I have a second?
Joseph seconds.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Jakuda, you go ahead and second. In the meantime, do me a favor. If you guys are not being called, can you guys close your mic? Because I could hear all the conversations, the noises in the back of you. And it's a little bit hard to concentrate. All right, thank you. So it's been a motion and a second. But there is a problem with this. There's currently a motion and a second, and we're opening discussion on a motion and a second. So therefore, we cannot have another motion until we finish the first motion. 2 motions cannot be on the floor at the same time. And as I recall correctly, Councilor Joseph Jakuda made a motion. So unfortunately, in this case, the motion and the second are going to have to be dismissed because there's the current motion on the floor. 2 motions cannot coincide at the same time. You can only have 1. And we're in discussion for motion number 1. Okay. I want to make sure we follow procedure because even if it's just a document, later on could be challenged if it's not. So it's my turn to go ahead and say my piece, right? So far I've heard and I want to have a point of clarity. The email that was sent, because there was a lot of confusion why I said that the rest of us didn't see the email, whatever it was. Friday, when it was submitted after business hours, and it was a 3-day weekend. The staff was gone 3 p.m. that day because it was a 3-day holiday. That's usually when they usually leave. And this got submitted closer to 6 p.m. So the staff was already gone from the building like 2-3 hours prior. They were not here Saturday, were not here Sunday, they were not here Monday. They came back until Tuesday. So the document itself was never presented to us. It was, I think Councilor Jakuda did send it to us. I got to see it after the meeting. It was, and he did a summary of what it was, but there were some questions about potentially a month or that we were not sure where to go. And also to remind you guys that the legislative package already left. So I think that for the future, I ask that please make sure we remember the staff has duties they need to proceed. The package already left, and there was no way on a 3-day weekend they will have been able to put anything for a Tuesday meeting. I'm surprised, honestly, that we didn't change the meeting to a different day like we've done in the past, but I was respectful of it. That is a point of information when it comes to this. As for the others, so no, the edits were the document that we have in front of us right now was not showcased to the community. And honestly, my understanding was that we were going to talk about it in a different work session to make sure the 5 of us were present, because we did realize, Jenny, you were not here.
Excuse me, point of order. I need a correction. Point of order.
I am giving a point. If I'm giving a point of information, right?
I'm correct.
I think that you also so you have a point of what is the rule that's being broken?
It's a clarification.
Go ahead. What's your clarification?
The clarification is this was actually submitted and read out loud at a legislative session in September. It's been presented to the community twice.
Danielle, point of information. I think that even Councilor Jakuda and Councilor Jenny said that the document never made it to the package. The new additions to the document. This old one has. and this is the one we're discussing. What we're saying is like no additional additions. I was giving a point of information on where we left off of the last meeting because there was questions about why was it put in the package, and I was clarifying that the package already left. The staff did not receive this until after business hours on a 3-day weekend, so therefore they won't be able to open that email until like Tuesday somewhere along the
Point
day.
of order.
That's what I'm doing. So
point of
once
order.
I put,
No,
what
I
is
need to
your
make
your point of order?
the vice mayor rotation was delivered to the city clerk by the deadline on Wednesday, January 14th. The amendment was not delivered to the city clerk until Friday. However, this was properly on the agenda. Mayor, I'm clarifying. Stop interrupting me, please, Mayor.
You say point of order. Can I have the point of order rule that's been broken?
Oh my goodness. You are misrepresenting a fact. And
I am not, Jenny.
You are misrepresenting a fact, Mayor.
Okay, thank you so much, Jenny.
Oh my goodness.
It is you could go ahead and close your mic. As we stated, the additions to the document were submitted to the city clerk past business hours on Friday. I'm talking about the new order. Okay, Danielle, you could close.
You have to rule.
What is the point of order, Danielle? What rules is broken?
You have to rule on her point of order, and I have the right.
I did. I wrote against it. So I'm asking you what point of order has been broken in your end? That was ruled, so therefore I am declining your point of order because I went ahead and ruled. Please go ahead and mute yourself in the meantime. You guys established this mess and these rules, right? All I was clarifying is the fact that there was a question in the last meeting that stated why the package didn't get submitted. So I wanted to clarify the package already left and the staff did not see this document until Tuesday of the meeting to make sure we get clarity on what version we're speaking on. That was it. We are not saying different things, guys. We're saying the same exact thing. Document number 1 was presented on Wednesday. The additions to the changes got presented Friday at 5:45 p.m. That's it. Point of clarity on that one. Nothing else. That hasn't changed. That's exactly what happened. We all got that. Thank you, Councilmember Jacuda, for sending us all the email, for us to see that information for us, because Danielle said she hadn't seen it. I said I hadn't seen it. Valerie said she hadn't seen the document. So all that information was new that was discussed at the meeting when it came to the edits. As far as the other one, this is Sarah Borges. I'm always around, and there's always a contingency plan between me and the city manager, and the city when it comes to what to do in case the mayor is not here, is disabled, unable to be present. That is there's always been a plan when Mayor Miles was here as a council member, what it was, and it continues to be, So the time has run out. I would like to ask at least 10 more minutes on the clock to be able to continue the conversation if the council so chooses.
I move for 10 more minutes.
Jenny, can you please close your mic? I'm calling on
I was making a motion, Mayor.
Thank you, Jenny.
Did you make a motion?
On Joseph to be able to do this.
Oh my goodness.
You need to realize that you don't even get to speak and you guys want to. Joseph, can you go ahead and put a motion? Are you going to put a motion on the floor?
I guess first we need to do the time motion. So I'll make a motion to add 10 minutes to the clock.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor made by Councilor Jacuda. Can I have a second? A second. So there is 10 minutes on the clock. Melissa, go ahead and mark it. Councilor Jacuda added the 10 minutes, second by Councilmember Carter. Okay.
And,
so I did point information. So let me tell you guys where I'm at. I'm hearing 3 different things are going on at the same time. Okay. I think that the point, it is valid that we haven't had we basically got a resolution, and it seems like we ran with the resolution without even having to sit down and talk about what is it that we want to do. And I think that that's what's been asked for other people. There were other stuff that were happening that also people had concerns and they wanted to, wait on the vote. And that's not a secret. Obviously, more than one of you guys reached out and say we need to pause on it for the meantime, right? But in saying that, the chart says that we need to have a vice mayor. The council rule says that it's been traditional that we do a rotation yearly. The conversation of like, do we want to continue having it this way or adopt a different method was never discussed. And if you guys want to continue the same way, great. And I think that that's the point that Councilmember Woodall has been making. The original conversation was never had in order to be able to say like, hey, you know what? Let's continue the same way because, you know, it's great or whatever. But Valerie, I'm going to go ahead and see you the floor. And go ahead.
Yes, I think that's the point. In the very beginning, we had this resolution come up at the very beginning of the new session. So Danielle, your point about having a work session maybe before the legislative meeting would be a good idea. This was never discussed as a thing with this new council at the very beginning. We did the first reading without having a discussion. There were some issues between that reading and post that meeting. I know that there was an ethics complaint and there were violations found. And so I think it's worth us as a council body having a conversation about what that all means. I think this was the first ethics violation ever found. And I think that's why I wanted to have a conversation. I mean, if we want to move forward with this, we certainly can. But I did think having a conversation with the council about just the rotation schedule as is and you know, what this looks like. So that's why I wanted to have a conversation before we moved into a vote. You know, and that's where I stand. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm going to go around the circle anyways, no matter what. So even if you don't have a comment, just say no comment. Okay. Joseph, you were, I think I'm going to go the same exact rotation. So Joseph, you were second last time, right?
Yes. First, I would like to request a reading of the motion on the floor from the clerk.
You asking for a point of information from the clerk? I mean, you have to. So, Melissa, so you cannot direct the clerk to do it.
Okay.
But so just FYI. So Melissa, can you go ahead and repeat what the motion on the floor? Who made the motion on the floor?
I did.
Okay, so you do not recall the.
I do not recall the
made.
exact wording.
Okay, so Melissa, do you have can you repeat the wording for the motion that was made on the floor?
The motion was to adopt resolution 07-2025, the vice mayor rotation.
Okay. So Joseph, does that clears what the resolution was?
I would like to make a subsidiary motion, an amendment.
You would like to amend your motion?
Yes, which takes precedent. So I would like to amend the motion to read, I would like to amend the text of resolution 07-2025 with the text presented in amendment 1 and to adopt resolution 07-2025.
Okay, so get clarity. You want to adopt it with the text presented? Is that what you're asking?
I would like to amend resolution 07-2025 as presented with the text presented in amendment 1 and then to adopt resolution 07-2025 as amended.
So thank you. Okay, let me figure out what the next step is because we need to read the text. It has not been read in public. So that's something that if we go ahead and edit this, I want to make sure that it is known that we have to read the text because if not, we're going to be in two different documents as it is. It's a little bit confusing.
I'd be more than willing to read it if you prefer, Mayor.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. So an amendment to the motion has been made to vote on resolution 07-2025 with the text, with the amended text. Correct, Joseph?
Yes.
Okay. Melissa, you have all of that right now? And just so you have it, so ask for a second. So the person that made the second, who was it? Danielle? Okay, I need to verbally hear from you that you accept the amendments made to the resolution.
I accept the amendments made to the resolution and my second stands.
Well, I just need to make sure you say like you accepted it. If you say your second stands,
Okay, I
I'll do
did.
it like that.
I did.
Okay, thank you so much. So Melissa, you have the first and the second for the new amendment, correct? Yes? Okay.
Yes, Mayor.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, so Melissa, can you go ahead and put, so it's been probably moved, amended and second, okay? Let's clarify to make sure we go slower on this. We're still in discussion, but I did ask to make sure that we read the text because it has not been read in public. This is the first time we actually read it in public. So this text has not gone to work session that we're gonna read right now. So just be aware so that way the community follows through. So this is like the first reading of this amendment, this text being amended. Okay, Joseph, can you go ahead and read it? Okay, then I take
Thank you,
up on your
Mayor.
offer to read the amendment.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Resolutions number 7, 2025, upcoming vice mayor rotation. Whereas Section 303B of the City of Mount Rainier Charter calls for the appointment of a vice mayor who shall perform the duties of the mayor during the absence or disability of the mayor. And whereas Rule XI.G of the Mount Rainier City Council Rules and Procedures is reaffirmed unanimously by this council on May 12, 2025, states that the practice of the Mount Rainier City Council is to allow every council member to serve as vice mayor and that the rotation be adopted by resolution. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City of Council of the City of Mount Rainier that 1, commencing after adjournment of the legislative meeting of the City Council on February 3rd, 2026, and continuing until the adjournment of the council meeting February 2nd, 2027, Councilmember Daniel Carter, Ward 1, shall serve as vice mayor. 2, commencing after adjournment of the legislative meeting of the City Council on February 2nd, 2027, and continue until the adjournment of the council meeting on November 2nd, 2027, Councilmember Joseph Jakuta, Ward 2, shall serve as vice mayor. 3, commencing after adjournment of the legislative meeting of the City Council on November 2nd, 2027, and continuing until the adjournment of the council meeting on November 7th, 2028, Councilmember Jennifer Hoffpower, Ward 1, shall serve as vice mayor. This resolution is adopted by the City Council of the City of Mount Rainier this day of blank 2026.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. And to make sure that we are on the same page, the whereas rule on it, that's new, correct? To get the next, go up, Melissa. Go to the bottom of the document. Then you also have, there's whatever is, the crossovers was changing from the old resolution to the new resolution. Joseph, do me a favor. As I say this, just make sure that you're following along. So I make sure I dictate the changes, okay?
Okay.
All right, so the crossover we're at is being changed to after adjournment. The dates are being changed from November 4th to February 3rd. The prior to changed to on November 3rd, 2026 to February 2nd, 2027. The add changed from after adjournment. The November 3rd, 2026 to change to February 2nd, 2027. The crossover of last to adjournment of council meeting, the crossover prior to add the date on. Then you have crossover of at, added after adjournment of. Then you have until the stays, crossover last, then adjournment of, crossover prior to on. And is that all the changes, Joseph?
One last one, it corrects Councilmember Hoffpower's first name.
Okay, Councilmember Hoffpower, so you have an extra N and a minus F, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we gone through the document, detail the changes. Thank you guys up for that. And can I have more time in the clock? Okay?
I make a motion, we add
So-
10 minutes to the clock.
Can I finish my sentence,
Oh,
please?
you asked a question, I answered, I'm sorry.
I have not finished. I have not finished. Can you guys have patience? I'm trying to make sure we do this the right way because like I said, this is not taken to a work session. So we're doing a work session and a legislative session. So this is the reason why things are taken to a legislative session. So we have more time
Point
to
of
digest
order.
it.
That's
Okay.
incorrect. This was introduced at the last work
So Jenny,
session.
can
This
have
is
what
merely
point
an
of order
amendment.
has been broken, please? Please tell
No,
me what rule was
you're
broken.
wrong, Mayor.
So what rule was broken, please?
Mayor, so
What rule has been broken? So I would like to pay judgment
no,
right now. There
you're
was no
you're
rule that
stating
was
a rule
broken
has
when
been
it comes
broken,
to
Mayor,
point of
and what
orders.
you were
And
stating
I
is
want to
factually
clarify that this
incorrect.
is what we all were quoted, that you guys wanted me to ask you guys once every time point of order was addressed. Okay? I'm clarifying it. We all on the same page. This document that I made it to a last meeting. That's the reason why we're going by line. I'm doing my due diligence, and that's why I asked Councilmember Jacuda, since he introduced it, to make sure he was good. So that way there is no later on, there was something that wasn't ready to change. Oh, there's a confusion on it. So I need you guys to be patient as we go through it. You stopping me is not going to make this go faster. Okay, so I would like to ask if we could have at least 10 more, can we have a motion on the floor to add time to the current item, at least 10 more minutes?
I make a motion that we add 10 minutes to the clock.
Okay, motion has been made by Councilmember Carr. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilor Jacuda. All right, Melissa, can you go ahead and you're taking notes of this, right? Sorry, Melissa, I know it's additional stuff. Okay. All right. So we're all in the same page with the same document at this point, right? And okay, thank you so much. So right now we're in the point of discussion. So I did say I was going to go all the way around. So I did ask Valerie to say on the second round. Joseph, I got you on the second round, correct? That's when you make your motion. Danielle and Jenny, I'm going to ask you if you guys have something else to add in order to make sure we're fair all the way around. Danielle, do you have something else to add in the second round?
On the second round, I just want to reiterate that this does not bear the weight of law. We're putting way more emphasis and staff time and money into this than it deserves. So I really hope we can just get through the semantics and get this over and done with so we can get on to the next agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. Jenny?
I just want to clarify that the rules say the items to be discussed or voted on shall have been discussed in a previous work session. This was brought to the previous work session. It's simply the amended language that was not, and you have been discussing it in a factually incorrect manner. So this was brought previously, and frankly, we have brought this multiple times, and Councilmember Woodall had multiple times when she could have discussed
Jenny,
it.
can
Instead,
we
she
please make
chose to
sure we have
delay the
rules of
discussion.
adjournment?
I'm speaking,
Rules of
Mayor.
decorum
You
needs to be on
repeatedly
it.
have
You
denied
cannot
me
go
the
ahead and
ability to
mention
speak in
another
this
council
meeting.
member.
Point of
I
order,
want you to make
Mayor.
sure
You are
you do not break the rules of
violating the
decorum.
council rules. Mayor,
What is the point of order that was
I'm making a
broken?
point
Please
of
let me
order.
know.
Mayor, so
What is the
you are
point of order that was
violating.
broken? Please let me know.
Mayor, you have
Jenny, you guys
broken
instructed that I need to
Article
do this.
5,
You cannot
Section
have it
D,
both ways,
decorum.
Jenny.
Excuse
If
me.
you ask me what
Mayor,
rule of order, you have to
I'm
let me
in
know
a
what
point
rule
of
of order
order.
was
I
broken.
have the floor.
So I'm asking you what rule of order was broken.
You violated Article 5, Section D,
Which
decorum,
is?
disorderly conduct, or
Which
violation
is?
of rules.
I
Mayor,
have not done anything when it comes to that, so judgment falls down.
Mayor,
Thank you so much. So
no,
moving on to the
Mayor,
last-
actually, this is not
already passed
acceptable.
judgment, Jenny.
Mayor,
That's what I
point
was
of
instructed
order.
to do
I
by
am
you guys,
tired
so you
of
guys
your
can have it.
bullying.
Thank you so much, Jenny.
Your
Rules of
bullying
decorum
will
has one have
stop.
been
Excuse
broken.
me, point of
Thank you for
order. I'd like
flourishing
to make
at
an
the
amendment
meeting.
on the point of order.
I
I'm following
done.
Robert's rules of order. I'm following Robert's rules. I'll put
Again,
it to you.
Danielle, I
I'm
can only pass
making a
judgment one
motion to
person
amend.
at a time.
I am making a motion to amend your decision per Robert's rules of order.
Okay,
Chapter
there's a motion on the floor. Is there a
Let me
second?
finish.
Go
Let
ahead.
me finish.
Go ahead.
According to 62, Robert's Rules of Order 62.8, if the chair ignores a point of order that is not dilatory, the member can report the point of order a second and third time. And if the chair still ignores it, the member standing in his place can immediately put the point of order to a vote without debate. The question may be put as, is the point of order that blank well taken? If the point of order was that the chair improperly ignored another motion, the member may, instead of repeating the point of order, repeat the original motion, and if the second of the chair ignores it, may stand in his place, put the ignored motion to a vote without debate. Mayor, please, would you listen to us when we speak?
Danielle, once again,
you
the
cannot
mic
interrupt
is
me.
not
I
yours.
have the floor.
You don't. You're
Yes, I
you're
do.
repeating- You state your point of order.
Okay,
So
you know
if I
what?
need to
You are
speak,
out of
you're
order,
not.
Mayor. You're out of
Again,
order.
Danielle,
You're
can you
out of
please
order.
mute your mic? I asked Councilor Power what rule was broken. She did not give
She did.
any rule.
She
That
did.
is what is being asked by legal.
She
You
did.
guys are making this longer than it needs to be. I'm trying to make sure you guys don't have your time to speak. I'm trying to make sure I follow the rules you set up.
You're not.
You guys, it was set up for me to follow, which was I needed to ask you what rule was it broken. If no rule was provided to me, I go ahead and take a judgment that no
Mayor,
rules
you
provide,
wouldn't let me
and that's it.
speak.
So I will
Mayor?
say something. I'm ready to go for the
Mayor,
final
there's a
round of
motion on the
speaking so
floor.
we could vote on this. But if you guys don't want to,
Oh,
we
Jesus
continue will
Christ.
be in this position. So
Mayor?
again, you guys are just
I
making this
have
longer
the
than
floor,
needs to be.
Mayor. I
Once
have the floor,
again,
Mayor.
Council member,
I asked for an
what?
amendment. I've asked for an amendment.
You
I'm
could
asking
ask for
the
an
chair to
amendment,
rule.
but once again,
I'm
I asked,
asking the chair
what
to
rule
rule
was
on
it
the
broken?
amendment. I'm
What
asking
rule
the chair,
was it broken, Danielle?
I'm asking the chair to
Go
rule
ahead.
on the amendment. Thank
And I
you.
did. And I said, I'm
No,
ruling
you're
against.
asking questions. You're not ruling.
Danielle, the matter that you always have to control me is freaking crazy. I already said I'm ruling against it. The end. Please stop. I'm trying to get through it. I could obviously, after Councilor Jacuda said something, just like call for the vote and ignore you guys. I was make sure that I wanted to be fair and went around. Right now, it's the third open. If nobody else wishes to speak, we could move on for a vote. At this point, it's like, do you guys want the vote or you guys want to get stuck in like technicalities that are not beneficial for anybody? So I will say what I have to say. And then I will go ahead and I'm calling the question after that. Okay? Because I think you guys have 2 rounds. Unless somebody else tells me that they need to go for a 3rd round, I will call for the question. But I ask for you guys to, I'm also going to say something and then I'm calling for the question. Okay? So in saying that, I want to thank you guys for the time dedicated. I know sometimes the process a little, a little longer than it needs to be. There were concerns because of the fact that there was an ethical violation that was found. And council members had every right to say, hey, we want to put a hold on when it comes to this issue. This is not a secret. You guys could go to the webpage. It's there what, the ethics board decided. But at the end of the day, everybody's going to vote the way they choose to, right? I think it's a fair way to go about it. And if majority wins one way, then it's fine. It is what it's going to be, right? Like you said, it's procedure. There's nothing really the vice mayor does unless the mayor needs them to do something. And the reality of it is like for the majority of the time, I think most mayors, going back to Mayor Miles, have basically like been always responding, but always done the work. So we have no need for the vice mayor to do anything. That is correct. All right. But I think it's something that we go through it. So that is my piece because I haven't said nothing in the first or second round. Okay, so at this point, the question, in order for us to vote, I will be calling the question. Actually, let me retract my steps. There is a motion that was amended on the floor by Councilmember Jacuda, correct? Thank you, Joseph. Make sure that I'm in line with this because I'm sure we get pulled over later. Okay. Second by Councilmember Danielle Card that in order adopting resolution all, can you put it up front? All 7. Melissa, can you move it, please? I am so sorry. 07-2025. We already went to rounds of discussion. Council, if you do not have a need for a 3rd round, I would like to call for the vote. Okay? So I'm giving you a chance if you need to ask one more round. Okay? That's as fair as I can be. Right? Right. So I'm gonna ask verbally because I don't want it on to be on it. Jenny, you're good? No more time to speak? Danielle?
You don't really let me speak, so why
Danielle,
bother?
yes or no?
No, I'm ready.
Okay,
to call
good.
the
Joseph,
question.
yes or no?
I'm good. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Valerie, yes or no? Okay, so that was the final round. All right, so there is a motion and a second on the floor. So I'm gonna call a verbal vote. Okay? All right, Joseph, I'm gonna start with you since it's your motion. Joseph Jacuda,
Aye.
Danielle Carr,
Aye.
Jenny Hoffpower,
Aye.
Valerie Woodall,
No.
and I'll be voting no. So it's 3-2-0. The motion passes. And thank you guys so much for your time. And to the staff, thank you so much as well. I know this was a lot of back and forward, but the job of the clerk is to make sure she takes the notes. And Joseph, thank you so much for walking us through it to make sure that we got the information out. That definitely helped, okay?
No
I
problem.
appreciate you for that. Okay, moving on to the next item, new business, item number 10. Vote on approval of minutes, 5 minutes. The mayor and council vote on approving for the minutes for December 16, 2025 work session and January 6, 2026 legislative meeting. Can I have the motion on the floor to approve the minutes as presented?
To approve the minutes as presented.
Is there probably move? Is there a second? I will second. All right, any discussion?
Yes, I would like
Okay,
to.
Danielle, what is, go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to acknowledge, first of all, that I need to object to the minutes presented for the January 6, 26 meeting. I would like to acknowledge that the minutes are only required to contain a synopsis of what occurred per the council rules. But I would also like to point out that in Robert's Rules of Order 48 4.6 and 48 4.10, it is stated that all motions or main motions to bring a main question again before the assembly and all points of order or appeals, whether sustained or lost, together with the reasons given by the chair for her ruling, should be included in the minutes. It also states that the body of minutes should contain a separate paragraph for each subject matter. In this case, there are many large paragraphs in this section of minutes, the January 6th meeting. Large paragraphs in the minutes describing what residents and council members said on previous agenda items. But the minutes for the reading of Resolution 1, 2026, there's no mention that the motion was to reconsider the vote, that it was a motion to vote. It said that it was just a motion to vote. There is also no mention of the mayor's denial for the motion to be considered even after it was seconded. The further argument that the motion was a legal one on the floor that had been seconded, the denial of the council decision by the mayor, or the debate that ensued. It also states that after discussion, this is quoted, Councilmember Danielle Carter withdrew her motion, which does not truly reflect the actual occurrence. It was after a tense debate that of a lengthy motion to reconsider that the council member withdrew her motion, but never conceded that the motion was legal. These might be uncomfortable details, but they need to be included in the minutes all the same. I made the motion that the minutes be rewritten for this section to reflect what happened with regard to motions, objections, seconds, the denial of discussion, debate, arguments, and withdrawal of the motion without conceding that it was a legal motion. That's a motion, by the way. I made the motion.
Danielle, there's a current motion on the floor. Two motions cannot be on the floor at the same time.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that once again is clear
Okay.
in order to make sure that we are following the rules. And I do ask if you guys make it easier for me to make sure you guys are following along as there's a motion on the floor. So that way it cuts from me having to rectify over and over again that there's the motion on the floor.
Mayor. I'll withhold it. Okay? I'll withhold it till later.
Danielle, I'm speaking. Thank you so much. Okay, so I need that from all of you guys collectively. I'm not singling out one person. I need you guys to make sure you remember that so that way it makes it easier for not just us to follow, the community to follow, and the staff to be able to follow. Because if not, we have multiple competing things going at the same time. Okay, so there's the motion in the second. We're up to discussion. All right, so we're gonna open up the floor to we'll continue through the line of speakers as we go through it. Okay, Joseph, go ahead.
And if it pleases the mayor, I would like to divide the question and to address the December 16th minutes separately than the January 6th minutes.
There is, I will have to.
It's a subsidiary motion.
So Joseph, yeah, let me just think because there's a motion on the floor, right? So it has to be accepted by that person that made the motion and the second in order for us to be able to split it, okay? I cannot do a secondary item. You put a proposal in front, and now we have to figure out whether or not it is accepted by the people that make the motion, okay? So, Valerie, you made the motion.
I'm
What
okay
are your
dividing.
thoughts?
I'm okay dividing. I'm okay
Okay.
dividing.
All right, so just to slow it down a little bit, Melissa, since I second, I'll go ahead and support the motion. So the minutes are gonna be divided between the December 16 work session minutes and the January 16th. So item number 10 will have 2 different votes instead of the traditional 1 vote. And time is up. Okay. Console, I need to ask for 10 more minutes on the clock. It is 9:30. Per rules, I need to ask you guys where you guys are at, if you guys want to continue or not. Okay, but I'll go ahead and ask for a motion on the floor for 10 more minutes.
I motion that we add 10 minutes to the clock.
There's been a motion to add 10 more minutes to the clock. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been probably moved and second. All right, and as I stated for the council rules, but timing hits like 2 hours and a half. I need to know if you guys are still willing to hang on a little longer, you know, or you guys are gonna postpone this. And so I need to you guys verbally tell me, because it is 9:30. We are good to continue this discussion for 10 more minutes and then we'll reassess. Okay, all right. So we are gonna go ahead and start speaking on the December 16, 2025 work session minutes, since it was a split decision. Is there further discussion? So I'm gonna go again to just focus on December 16 minutes only. Okay, so I'm gonna go around the room again. Okay, so I had Joseph, Valerie, Danielle, you already said something. Next one was Jenny. Go ahead. You're muted.
I have no comments.
Okay. Valerie?
No comment.
Joseph?
I'm good, thank you.
Danielle?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, so
Thank you.
there's been a motion on the floor to approve the minutes for December 16, 2025 work session. We have discussed it, right? And there's no further discussion. All right, is there any abstentions to the approval of the December 16 minutes? Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, the December 16 minutes have passed. Okay. All right, moving on to item number 10, January 6, 2026, legislative meeting minutes. We're gonna continue going around to figure out what specifically we're asking our staff to do. Okay. All right. All right, so I'm gonna go next one. So Danielle, since you were the last one on that one, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to Jenny again. Go ahead. You're muted.
I believe that Councilmember Carter made a reasonable request that the minutes reflect more detail, which is allowed under Robert's Rules of Order. She had been denied this request because it has not been our practice as a council, but I think her request is reasonable, and I think the minutes should be amended as she requested.
Okay, just a point of information and clarity. When was this request denied? It has not come out to mayor and council in a meeting. So when was it denied? Danielle, when was this request denied in an open meeting?
I think she's referring to the fact that I was, I'm not going to speak for the council member. I'm sorry.
The city
Okay, but I'm
clerk-
asking you, has your request been denied in an open meeting, Danielle?
No, my request has not been denied in an open meeting. No.
Okay, so I don't think, at least I haven't had a meeting where I've been where this has been denied or discussed except for an email that was sent. Okay. All right, so
I think that may be what she referred to. I did ask for it in an email, and the city manager asked me to bring it to the meeting and make it public, and so that's what we're doing. I think that may be what, I don't know. I can't speak for the council member.
No, I'm just asking.
That's my experience.
Tell me what the other council members saying. I just wanted to know to make sure to hear from you. It was denied. So it's a point of information and clarity. When minutes are amended, the city manager and the clerk cannot do them privately. They have to be brought out to a meeting to discuss. So they were following procedure. We could send an email with a bunch of changes that we have, but usually they don't put it in, and it's rare that we have adjustments. We usually bring them in and let the other council members know what the minutes are, and that's how they get amended. Okay, so I just want to make sure that that is clear. That's just standard procedure, and it's rare that we ask Melissa to edit things. Melissa's our clerk who's in charge of our minutes, so just want to make sure that is clear. Okay, Joseph, go ahead, and then Valerie.
Thank you, Mayor. I do agree that according to Jurassic Parliament's interpretation of Robert's rules, that all points of order, appeals, and their results should be placed into the minutes. I do agree that the point of orders that were made that were valid should be in there. I would like to make a motion, though, since we're going to a subsidiary motion to lay on the table these minutes so that we can provide text to the next work session.
So, Joseph, we cannot have two motions on the floor at the same time.
It's a subsidiary motion.
Okay. So
to lay it on the table.
Sorry, can you go ahead and repeat it one more time?
I would like to lay the vote for the January 6th, 2026 legislative meeting minutes on the table to be taken up for edits at the next work session.
So you are requesting the people that make the motion in the second, if you are proposing an amendment, that's what you're doing, correct?
I mean, technically it's a special subsidiary motion called laying on the table.
Okay, so you are making, well, the terms that we use on it has been requesting an amendment from the person that's make the motion in the second. Okay. Valerie, since you make the motion, you could speak on the amendment, or you could have your turn to speak, because the motion is not valid because your motion is on the floor, unless you choose to valid. But it's up to you whether or not you want to go ahead and state your piece to whatever you need to say. I know I haven't had words as well.
I think the subsidiary motion would be a good idea to give time for staff to add and to change the minutes as we need to. But I will say that I think that the minutes as presented present a fair summary of the discussion. I mean, there were so many points of orders and back and forth that I think just generally speaking to this, I think, there's only one or two that would be, that should be presented. But I think generally the city clerk has done a good job of capturing the conversation, and I don't think this is much different from that. So thank you.
Thank you. I would tell you that at least on my behalf, I want to thank Melissa, Mr. Kamali, who has brought us from many years of minutes not being done or completed to where we need to be. Not only that, Melissa does submit the minutes and they have been approved. There hasn't been no change. The other thing to point out that legal was requested to review the whole entire meeting and they gave feedback. I do have a concern with the minutes, the information that was sent, because I feel like all the wording that wants to be added to the minutes was not at the meeting, So that is very clear. We could sit here and say Robert's Rules of Order number 1359, whatever it is, right? But at the meeting, that was not mentioned. My concern is that if we want to edit the minutes to reflect what we wanted to interpret them after the meeting, is pretty dangerous. Mainly because that's not how it happened. The meeting is virtually, people could watch it. The reason why the clerk does the minutes is because it's a neutral body that gathers the information, what it is or what it isn't. There were a lot of point of orders. Many of them, as legal also explained, they were not done in the proper way, right? So if that is the case, I think that you also need to realize that the clerk does not transcribe the minutes. Overall, she puts the motion, who votes on it, who's on it, and what the attendance was to make sure it's a record who was present. So there is a request to move this to a work session, but I definitely will caution us that editing minutes to reflect what did not happen at a meeting, it is very dangerous. And you guys might have the votes to do it, but be aware that that's not what we need to be doing. That's the reason why the clerk ruined the way she did, right? You guys got legal advice. We all got the information from legal, right? When it stated what is it that we needed to do with point of order, and that's the reason why I've done my best to follow this, which is requesting what is the point of order rule that was broken. And if it was not, if I'm not giving a rule of order, I have to move on and reject the item as no point of order was done because it was not given to me what rule was broken. So adding the point of order rules that were not said in the meeting definitely creates a position that now the staff has to recreate imaginary things that didn't happen, and that is definitely very dangerous. So I definitely want to make sure that if we are moving forward to that in the work session, that the meeting is available for us to view to see whether or not those words were said. And if it wasn't, I definitely will cautious us to make sure that the language is not added to the minutes if they were not said. The minutes are not an interpretation of what the clerk thinks we said. They are what we said. And based it on the minutes that we were, the edition of minutes that were given, there was like paragraphs that never happened in the meeting. So I definitely would like to make sure that the meeting is available to us so we could go point by point to see whether or not those points were made. And if they were not, I specifically ask for you guys not to put the clerk in a position because she by law, Mr. Kamali have to sign out on the minutes and they cannot sign out on things that did not happen. So that is a big danger. So I would like to add 3 more minutes on the clock just so we could take just so we could have an agreement to move it to the work session if that's what we choose and move on. Joseph, I see your mic open, so can I have a motion for 3 minutes on the floor?
I'll make the motion for 3 more minutes, Mayor.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, thank you so much. Valerie, you had the motion on the floor. Are you accepting the amendment to the motion to move this to a work session?
Yes.
Okay, I had the second. I'll go ahead and agree to it. Do we have any further discussion on this item? Okay, there's been an amendment to the motion to move it to the work session. I'm gonna do a voice vote to make sure I hear clearly where we stand with this. So later on, it's not brought up for any other reason or misconstrue what happened. Okay, so it's been properly moved in second. Thank you, Joseph, for making the amendment to the motion. I mean the whatever. You guys know what I meant. Okay, so I'm gonna go by name called. Okay, so Joseph Jacuda.
Aye.
Danielle Carter.
Aye.
Jenny Hoffbauer.
Aye.
Valerie Woodall.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a 5-0-0 to move this item to the work session. Okay. And the item questions the January 6th, very interesting in a horrible way, historic day. Legislative meeting of the mayor and council. All right. Moving on to item number 11, presentation of minutes. City Clerk will present the January 20th, 2026 work session minutes of the mayor and council. The minutes are in your package. This is not a voting item. It is traditional for the clerk to present the minutes in a work session in our package for us to review. And then then they're brought up to vote. All right, Melissa, I want to say thank you to you because Mr. Kamali, one of the things that we asked you when you got hired is to make sure those minutes were online and you found the perfect person to get us where we needed to be. So appreciate you guys both for making sure that we have submitted minutes that are accurate and are legally binding in the things that we have agreed on. So thank you guys both for that. All right, next item on the agenda is item number 12, motion to adjourn. Can I have a motion on the floor to adjourn?
I motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn this meeting. Is this second?
Okay.
It's been probably moved in second by Councilor Carter and Councilor Woodall. Any discussion? Objections? Abstentions? Hearing none. This meeting has come to an end at 9:43 p.m. thank you guys so much, and thank you staff for all the work that you guys are doing. And we look forward to seeing you in community. Please, we out there, be safe. There is a 2-hour delay start for the public school system for Georges County. So drive a little bit extra careful because we will have families and little ones driving, walking, biking, and taking the school bus. Make sure the rules for school bus apply. School bus go first, don't go around it. And make sure we're cautious as we have kids jumping into buses and waiting for the bus. And saying that, thank you guys so much. And please sign up to the notification. The team will continue providing information and updates and information. So have a good night, and I will see you guys very soon. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you, staff.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Mr. Kamali, and thank you, MRTV.
Thank you, staff. Thank you, Mayor.